Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Please gather around your cameras, your computer cameras, and just breathe and just feel. I feel a great spectral energy here. Brandon McClure, do you feel the spectral energy in the room today?
No, but I smell it.
That's interesting. Okay, Ryan Ubiopolis, do you feel this great grand spectral energy at all?
You know, I can feel it, Colin, in the air tonight. Oh no.
Oh, yes, Ryan can feel it. I feel like it's like law that someone says, I feel it coming in the air tonight, you have to do the drum thing. But anyways, welcome everyone to episode 316 of the Fake Nerd Podcast. I am Ben Magnet, and we're here talking about We Have a Ghost. No, I'm dead serious. We actually have a ghost in the house. We found him yesterday. It's really unnerving. And also, we have other great stuff at the book club, the news, and Brandon has links, although sadly we are sans Sparks today because Sparks is not here.
He is in France.
France!
Living the dream. He's on a honeymoon. Because that guy got married.
Sparks is on his honeymoon. We wish him the best and a grand old time, but he can't be here today for it, or else his fiance would, his wife, oh no, his wife would kill him.
It's true. Also, I would like kick him out because I'm like, bro, France.
Bro, France.
No,
the Tower of Eiffels.
Actually, what time is it in France right now anyway?
I was going to ask and I forgot to ask.
You know, I have a world clock. I could check. I
could always ask. I have a Google, and if I got my Alexa, I could ask either one of those.
Well, it's 4:25 a.m. in London, and Paris is an hour later, so it's 5:26 a.m. in France right now.
I mean, it is a long flight, I'm sure, so he might still be awake from his journey.
He did text us before this, wished us a good show. So
that he did.
But as Ben said, we do have links in the description. Let's talk about some of the personal links because there's far less of those. My comic book resources, CBR, it used to be called Comic Book Resources. Does anybody know that anymore?
What is do you know what IGN stands for?
Internet Gaming Magazine.
It was Internet Gaming Network.
Internet Gaming Network.
No.
What was it?
Imagine Games Network.
Is it really?
I think so. And then they just dropped it. They just dropped it because it wasn't as there. It's just been IGN for forever now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, CBR used to be Comic Book Resources. Now it's CBR. Like I always thought it was Internet Gaming Network.
It makes sense, right? But I'm pretty sure like I watched like a thing about it, and I could be just making shit up, but like, yeah, it's not the obvious thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, don't ask me.
What is it? Never let them know your next move.
Exactly.
I was about to say ESPN was something, but everyone just calls it ESPN because the real acronym for ESPN is just so weird.
Entertainment, sports.
No. Let's make up our own entertainment,
extreme
sports.
Society, politics now.
Yeah.
That's it. We did it. Check out our version of ESPN, which is far better.
Sports on ESPN.
All extreme politics all the time. What?
You're actually kind of right. It stands for Entertainment and Sports Programming Network.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Look up IGN since you're looking things up. Look up IGN.
Okay, fine. I'll look it up.
Maybe it is the easy answer. Yeah. Now we're on a hunt.
Yeah, this is what we do on the show.
The hunt for the truth. We're talking about ghosts.
That's true.
Yeah, stands for. Ryan was right. The Imagine Games Network.
Imagine Games Network. Wow, I didn't know that.
Imagine coming up with that title.
Anyway, so I write for Comic Book Resources, CBR. I don't know why I did that again. That link, my author link, is down below. There's actually a few things that went up this week. There was like the best animated games, the best animated TV shows based on video games that went up. There's a God of War article that I think went up. There's a DC movies that might be up now. I don't know. Click that link. I got a bunch of stuff.
Can you send me the link to your animated game or games that turn into anime shows? I'm very curious to see what number one is.
Arcane.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Any list that doesn't end with number one, Arcane, is wrong.
Yeah. I don't know why my brain just went to like 90s cartoons. And I'm like, yeah, it has to be Sonic Saturday.
You know what?
There's nothing else.
You know what? Sonic the Hedgehog, the 93 series, did make it on that list.
Yay.
So
Better.
there you go.
Because that
Gotta
shit was
go.
amazing.
Thanks.
Ben, now we talk about a bunch of your links because as it is every week, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are Ben Magnet days because you got Grayson Live and you got D and Dark.
That I do. So I think it was last week where I said we were done with Mario 3D World. Now we're done with Mario 3D World. We're done. We're done. We may, because our goal was to get to the special worlds, like essentially the post game content after you get all the top of all the flagpoles, find all the stars and the stamps, and we did that, and we tried a level, and we constantly failed and died. It's very hilarious. I highly recommend watching it. But our goal was to try and unlock Rosalina. We didn't do that. And little inside baseball, today we recorded some stuff for Mega Man X4, so keep an eye on that in the future. But also, Dean Dark, did you listen to this episode, Dean Dark, Brandon?
Not yet.
Ooh, it's
so
spicy.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but let's just say the ending of the episode definitely gives you that cool anime end card feeling where you have the protagonist and a antagonist about to face off in a big showdown.
Very cool. I think I kind of know what's going on because I did see the cover art for this week. Very good. One of your co-hosts does the cover art for your show, yes?
Yes, Jordan. Jordan plays Larry the Wolfman. She does the cover art. She's the one who draws all the cool stuff. Like our TikTok page, the D and Dark TikTok, she's the one who does all the drawings. And she's very talented, and we're really glad to have her.
Yeah. Okay. So D and Dark, definitely check out D and Dark. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy listening to it. I have just not listened to the latest episode.
Dub,
cool.
Let me know what you think. I really want to know what you think.
I won't. I'm going to leave you in suspense. But here's what I won't keep you in suspense with. The other links that are in the description, because Sparks is on his honeymoon right now, but he diligently worked to get a bunch of stuff up onto our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of stuff coming. It's a lot of stuff scheduled, so check that stuff out next week. But right now, what I will tell you is that we have a bunch of Fake Nerds watches. So our audio feed for Fake Nerds Watch is very busy. Mandalorian season 3 is dropping on Wednesday. When we're recording this, it'll be on Wednesday, and that's insane. So our discussion for season 1 and season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett are now in the description, are now going to be dropped on the Fake Nerds Watch feed. So make sure to subscribe to that if you haven't listened to those episodes, or if you just want a refresh of those episodes on your commute. They're all going to be there. It's really fun going back to those old Fake Nerds Watches because the first season we did on the couch. We did those on the couch yelling into the boom mic.
We did.
Sure. Yeah. So those are always fun. And there was a slight audio problem with I think one episode of season 2, which I had to do some editing with, but I explain it in the episode and it's all fine. Somehow it put 2 audio tracks on one. It was really weird.
Double trouble.
Speaking of Fake Nerds Watch, Ryan.
Hey.
New episode of The Last of Us.
It's true. Everyone.
For Fake Nerds Watch.
Guess what? Spoiler alert. Still a very quality show. There will be a 2-week hiatus because, again, not only is Sparks on vacay, so is Pi, friend of the show, who's also co-host of that Fake Nerds Watch. So 2 of the definitely the most, because we know like what the game is and we know the titles of the episodes and like we know what's coming, like 2 of the most like emotional episodes are coming, so we're gonna have a nice big meaty sad episode to talk about when they get back. Check those out. That's a great show to talk about, especially with people who played the game.
Very cool. And me and Cookie from Just a Little Podcast joined me once again to talk about Star Trek Picard Season 3. And hey, I gotta tell you guys, shit, I think they did it. I think they might have done it.
That's what I've heard. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm holding hope. I'm holding that hope.
People seem to like it so far.
I'm I don't want to get my hopes up because like season 2 started strong too, but I'm kind of thinking like season 2 didn't start this strong. Like this is quality. This is kind of what you wanted to see when if they ever made that what they talked about a lot, like if they ever made that 5th movie after Nemesis, this is what you would have wanted it to be. So yeah, I'm really happy with the show, but I was really excited to get to talk to Cookie about it. So there is actually 2 episodes in the description below. There is episode 1 and episode 2. We have managed to record episode 2 earlier today at the time of this recording. That's up now. We did it live, so you can check out both those episodes. A lot of fun. I really enjoy the season. I really enjoy talking to Cookie about Star Trek. So there you go.
Happy to hear it.
Audio and video, by the way. Both The Last of Us and Picard, audio and video.
Nice.
Woo-hoo.
Ben, why don't you give a little talk about Basement Arcade pause menus in this episode?
Yes. So the latest episode that dropped this past Friday, I interviewed a gentleman who I met up in Portland Retro Gaming Expo. His name is Adam Shoup. He is also known as the Square Painter online, and he paints amazing canvas paintings of video games. And I'm talking like the pixel art is absolutely stunning. He recreates famous scenes from video games, does a little bit of flair, whoever's commissioning him, and it was just an absolute amazing conversation with him. And I also find out that he is the bloody bassist for a band called Rex Viper, which is a band that the Angry Video Game Nerd is a guitarist of. And they have essentially they mash video game songs and class and 80s songs together. And the song that's currently in my video game playlist and my workout playlist on my Spotify, it's called Mighty Wings and Hadokens, which is where they take the song Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick and they also incorporate elements from Ryu and Ken's stage from Street Fighter 2. And they also changed the lyrics up. So it's not just it's part of the lyrics of Mighty Wings, but they also changed it up too. Like they sing the button combinations for the Shoryuken. Fantastic episode. There is a little bit of a language in it, just FYI, but still, it's a fantastic episode. Highly recommend it. It was a blast recording it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Also, audio and video.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend watching the video because he does show off some of his paintings that he is working on. But of course, his work is also on his Instagram. It is really good work. And let's just say, if I had the cash.
Sure. Isn't that just anything?
Like when I first met him, I was bummed because he had this beautiful, gorgeous. It wasn't even a big one. It was like a small canvas painting of Mega Man, and I'm like, I want to take you home, and it wasn't that expensive, but I didn't know if I could get it home safely. That was the problem.
Excuse me, I'm still recovering from being sick this past week.
Oh no!
I came down with people who watch the live show will know that I was hacking out a lung on last week's live show. So that turned out I was just incredibly sick. So if I'm coughing or sniffling, I apologize.
It's all good.
There's the top 15 that we did back in January. That's now up as its own separate video and audio thing. Like I said, we're going to try and do a lot more audio, taking out a lot of the audio from the show and putting them on the audio feed, kind of just make episodes a little easier for people. But the big deal is that Cinephiles is launched. We are officially doing the Cinephiles, which we talked about last week. Sparks worked really hard to put up a lot of things. So Jung E is now a Cinephile. You can check that out. What Sparks did, he created a whole new intro for it, and it looks amazing. I highly recommend people just check out. If you guys don't want to rewatch our video of Jung E, that's fine. But check out that new intro. It's really cool. Music by Jeremy Vellucci, of course. And then the first part of Scream, our Scream discussion, so Scream 1 and 2, is now available in audio and video as well. Cinephiles, which is a different intro because it's a horror Cinephiles. I recommend that as well.
Geek. That's me being scared because of the horror movies.
And you do get scared. Cool. That's all the links I have in the description. Who wants to go first of the week?
You're muted, Ryan.
Muted yourself.
I muted myself when I thought I was muted. That's so funny. I will go first. It is me, Ryan. Before our friend Sparks left, he asked me, "Hey, do you wanna do an animation station on a certain show that I won't reveal yet because it hasn't come out yet? The show is out. The animation station is not." So I watched all of that show. It's really great. Oh wait, why can't I talk about it? Spoiler alert, I also read 18 issues of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, so maybe it's tied together with that. Who knows? Yeah, I watched all of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Show's incredible. I got a Animation Station coming out about it. It's already going to be on my top 10, hands down, no matter what. It's the best thing that Marvel's animation has put out. It's Disney, but like the best Marvel animated thing since our shows that we grew up with, like Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Spectacular Spider-Man. It is insane. It is such a good show. It's such quality. Every episode is beautiful and lovely and has a beautiful message. Love it. It made me want to read the comics. So 18 issues of the original comic that came out in 2016. That comic is excellent as well. Super fun, great message. Really, really great, like young adult comic. Highly recommend both those things. And then I think that's it. I watched The Last of Us and talked about The Last of Us. I'm still goofing around with my VR machine. That's just me that's like pew-pewing in like Star Wars VR and this like, doing fun stuff, just
I get you.
after work, killing time.
Mag is in the chat. I just want to acknowledge. Thank you. I'm glad to be with someone with being sick. I'm sorry you're sick though. That actually does suck.
I was this close to make a down with the sickness joke. I'm like, nah, that's not good. That's not nice.
You know what? You know what was so funny? So going through the Mandalorian episodes, do you know at the Sparks oftentimes put like a post-credit scene at the end of a Mandalorian episode, or at the end of any of our episodes, honestly. And it brings back like old bits that we used to do, old things that we would talk about. And I remember, and one of them is us showing Ben Richard Cheese for the first time.
Oh, Dick Cheese, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember this, Ben? Mother, get up! Come on, get down with the sickness.
First singing in Dawn of the Dead is how a lot of us discovered it. But he's like a lounge singer who sings like popular songs.
Oh.
This is funny because this is the second time we've done this to Ben.
Wait, I do. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Enough years have passed now.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really remember that, but I do.
Yeah, that first Mandalorian season was in 2020. Yeah, wild, right?
Yeah, that is wild.
Actually, it started in 2019 and ended in 2020. It's 2023.
4 times.
But yeah, I thought that was just really funny that like Richard Cheese came up again. I like Richard Cheese. All right. Anyway, sorry, Ben, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So during the week, not a whole lot of stuff media wise, just trying to add more stuff to my Spotify playlist so I can have tunes to listen to at the gym. Today, on the other hand, was a little bit different because today I went to, there's a local video game store or a local video game shop that I like going to. They had a buy sell trade event, and today I was like, you know what? I have some games that I don't need anymore. I need some space, and I decided to part with a few games. And while I was out there, I was parting with some games, and instead of selling games, I actually did something. I traded. I haven't traded games for a long time, and I traded
barter system.
Yep. And I think I got a kick-ass deal because the game I got, the guy was selling it for $85, and the games I had were around like say around $95 in total. And it's a game I've been wanting for a very, very long time. It is coming to the Nintendo Switch online service very soon. It is none other than the GBA release of Fire Emblem. This is the first Fire Emblem that we've got here in the United States, and I have been wanting this game for a very, very, very long time, and it's finally mine.
You got it.
I got it. So yeah, that was a really fun find. That was fun. I was just expecting to sell games and get some cash so I can help save up for Hawaii, but I saw that. I was like, you down for a trade by any chance? I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get rid of all my stuff. I do have a few games that are kind of garbage to say. Okay, not garbage, but there's a few sports titles, a few GTAs that I don't want anymore, and it's just like I'm trying to get rid of this. And yeah, so that was really fun thing for me to get today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Besides that, I sat down with Grayson. Grayson and I record more stuff for his channel, so keep on lookout for that. And before Sparks left, I also did an animation station with him about a certain blue dude who likes to go fast.
What is happening? Why is all this animation stations happening?
I mean, he and I watched a show, and we're like, hey, let's talk about it. And we did, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the show? You want to give us like an overview of the show? How is it?
For Sonic fans, you're gonna love it, or maybe not love it, but you're gonna enjoy it. If you're not a fan of Sonic, this probably isn't gonna really bring you into like more. I mean, if you like the movies, this one isn't gonna probably make you into a really big Sonic fan.
So if I, a person who is interested in watching more Sonic after watching the second movie, wanted to watch more Sonic, this wouldn't be the gateway.
No.
Okay, it's really what I
No.
wanted to know, honestly.
Yeah, I would definitely narrative-wise, not so much. I mean, animation-wise, yes, but narrative-wise, not so much.
Yeah.
I would say Sat AM. Sonic Sat AM. That's it. Sonic the Hedgehog. It just playing Sonic the Hedgehog. The community calls it Sat AM because that's when it came on. There's no really other. It's essentially Sonic the Hedgehog 1993. That animated show.
Saturday morning is when it came on. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to explain that because that just saying Sat AM does not mean anything. Then
sorry. I could have sworn I could have explained that before, but yeah.
I can honestly say that was the first time I've ever heard you say that.
Really? Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Sonic
but yeah, not that one. Okay. Besides that, not a whole lot. Just
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot to do. As I said, I was sick. And when I got sick this week, my head got really fuzzy and it was really hard for me to concentrate on anything. But I did watch a few things. Well, yes, Ben, you raised your hand.
I did, because there was one thing I did want to talk about really quick, and I thought it was really cool. So, Brandon, your partner had her birthday party this past weekend. And while I'm driving from my house to yours, it's a bit of a trek. And the way we were going went through some mountains. And for the first time in my entire life, living here in Southern California, I drove through snow.
Let me like put this into perspective for people who are listening to this who don't live in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. That is such a monumental thing for us that he's talking about it on this podcast.
Yeah,
like it's a big deal.
Like the last time,
the end of the world,
right?
That's not good, man. It's very cool to see. It shouldn't be snowing here, y'all. That's a problem. Problem.
Well, apparently, this meteorologists on the news were saying that this happened before. I want to say in like the late 80s, where lower because it's not like all of Los Angeles was covered in snow. They did say on the news it was lower elevation.
The rest of it was just flooded.
Yeah, that. That the conditions were just perfect enough, were just right enough, because I guess there was like a big polar low pressure coming in from the north, and it just hit us in a spot that hasn't hit us in over 30 some odd years. And at certain elevations you would see snow that don't normally see snow. I mean, the parts of the mountains that I was able to see when I was going to the event today were gorgeous. And I was only driving through the snow for about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And then once I got like maybe 2 or 3 feet lower in elevation, it was just regular rain again. So
I had just gotten out of the shower and I get a phone call from Ben. It's snowing.
I was amazed, because you guys know I used to go to Montana with my mom. My family's from Montana, and that snow was normal there. For us Californians, it's not normal. And
no shit.
Yeah, it's very not normal. So to me, it was cool to see this once in a lifetime thing, and hopefully it doesn't happen again, because as Brian said, it shouldn't be snowing because we're not supposed to get it, but just the conditions were just right enough that we got a little bit of snow. Yeah, and even Mag is in chat saying the Burbank 5 was closed because of flood warnings.
Driving in this stupid storm has been awful. Because I have to drive 25 miles to work every day. It's been awful. Like thankfully I have the next 2 days off. So when it's raining, so like hopefully it'll stop. Because it's awful. Just because of other people. I'm fine. It's other people.
I will not lie. Driving to Brandon's house to get to the party on time, I wasn't on time. I was a little bit late, unfortunately, but I was going slower on purpose to make sure I wasn't hydroplaning, because there were parts of the freeway that I was white knuckling, because I'm just like making sure I'm laser focused on making sure my tires stay where they're supposed to be.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I watched The Batman. Great movie. Don't need to talk a lot about that.
It's Batman.
I watched the first Rocky movie. I got into my head to try and watch all the Rocky and Creed films before I go see Creed 3. Probably not going to make it, but I'll get close, I think. The reason why I want to do it is because there's a few I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen 2 or 5. I don't think I've seen 4 either.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in the old days, I would just flip through channels and just watch TV and watch the movie on like Showtime.
I guess. Yeah. It's just like you've seen 1 and then 3.
Yeah, I saw 1, 3, and I saw 6 in theaters.
That's just interesting. Well, is 6 is 6 the reboot, or is that Rocky Balboa?
6 was Rocky Balboa.
Oh, then that's fine. That's a reboot. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, and then I saw Creed 1 and 2 in theaters also.
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't seen Creed 2 or 5. I don't think I've seen 4. I might have though. I don't remember.
A robot in it.
Specifically. Yeah, that's the one he's re-edited, right? To take out the robot.
I don't know if I think like the DVDs and like the Netflix versions will still be the same. I don't think the Stallone cut has happened quite yet.
Yeah, because he was talking about it doing like a Godfather Part 3. How they re-edited Godfather Part 3.
Oh, take out the charm of that movie. Give me a break. Come
on. Yeah, look, I saw the first Rocky movie. I've seen it before. It's a great movie. I really like boxing movies. I think they're just really cool. I think what it is because like boxing movies are like, it's one-on-one. It's you're following a guy training to be a good boxer, and then you're following him in the ring. Whereas like most other sports movies, you're following like a team of people. You're following like a coach, or really like I think boxing movies are a lot more intimate. I think that's why I prefer them to the sports movies.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Creed 3. I'm hearing really great things. I can't wait.
There's an MMA movie called Warrior with Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy and Nick Nolte, and that's probably like my favorite sports movie because that's about two brothers where they both like make it to the finals of this tournament, and like you want them both to win, so it's like literally like a really tough final match because you're like, I don't know who's gonna win and I don't know who I want to win because they're both guys who've been through a lot in their life and they're battling each other, and it's like, man, it's kind of like the evil version, like what Creed 3 seems to be about, like you're almost like your brother is coming to haunt you. But it's like, what if you love your brother and you have to fight him?
I should check that out.
It's awesome. It's great. A lot of family drama. It's really great.
What's it called? Warrior. I'll check it out. I want to see that one. Warrior. Cool. And then I saw The Notebook. I've never seen The Notebook before, and it was Zara's birthday, and she wanted to watch a romantic film, so we watched The Notebook. I don't think it's hard to say that movies. I don't think it's a hot take to say that movie is really great. Yeah. It's a cheesy romantic film, but it works. I called the twist coming. There's like a twist in the movie, but like I don't think it's impossible to say that you catch it pretty quickly. You catch on pretty quickly to what's going on.
Won MTV's Best Kiss the year it came out or whatever.
I believe it.
And they did the kiss on stage and everything. It was very cute.
That's a good kiss.
It is.
Ryan Gosling is, he's a dreamboat.
Yeah. Ben, have you seen Leno?
Nope.
No, you should.
Never seen it.
It's good. It's a really, really good movie. Yeah.
That's
it's on our poster.
Ryan... Oh, it is.
That scratch off poster, the 100 best movies you should see before you die, or whatever it's called. Yeah. It's on that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very good movie. I didn't know that. Jesus, what's the guy's name from Atlantis? He's the bad guy in Atlantis. A horrible pull. No, not Stargate Atlantis. The movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire with Milo and the evil guy.
Dude, that's an animated movie. I don't know the face. I just know Michael J.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't remember his name.
I just know Michael J. Fox is in the movie. That's about it. And Larry Nimoy, but that's it.
It's not John Lemon. It's the other one who's paired with him in Grumpy Old Men.
Walter Matthau?
No, not Walter Matthau.
Magasane, the army guy?
Yeah, the army guy from Atlantis.
Arlie Ermy?
No.
Army guy? Oh, no, we're lost.
Yeah, he often does like movies with John Lemon. Probably shouldn't be caught on this for so long.
It's okay. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm sure someone will look it up. But look, it's a great movie. It was a really good movie. It's one of those tearjerker romantic comedies that probably everybody should watch at one point in their life.
Yeah.
Finally, the last thing we'll talk about is 1923, which ended its first season today, actually just earlier today. This is the Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren prequel to the TV series Yellowstone. Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford are incredible. It's probably a career best performance in the last 20 years from Harrison Ford. I don't think he's ever I don't think he's probably cared enough about a script to act in it. But like he clearly enjoyed working on this show and wanted to like give it his all, and it shows.
James Garner.
James Garner.
Oh, sure. He's not a guy who's on the top of my reservoir.
Thank you. James Garner. I really like James Garner. He's a really fun dude. He's really funny.
I just like his line. Okay, who's not dead? Sound off.
Good. He's got a really good voice. I love it when I win. Mm-hmm. I think about that all the time. Great movie. Atlantis: The Lost Empire is a great movie, guys.
It is.
Anyway, 1923, really excellent show. I really liked watching 1883, which is the last prequel series which is the first prequel series for Yellowstone. That was really good. I think that one's better. I think 1923 is a little bit disjointed because there's one plot line specifically about a Native American girl who runs away from a school that these priests are running to make them into good women and wives. And it's like the law says you have to go to school. So these women are taken to the school and they're beaten and they're molested and it's awful. It's awful. And the plot line is that she escapes and runs away and the priests run after her and she a bunch of death. But that has nothing to do with what's happening in Yellowstone. So I'm not quite sure what the point of it was. It's good on its own, but it almost feels like that should have been its own story.
Sure. Yeah.
Because when you keep it in like the show, because when you're following the show, you're following the story of the Duttons and you're following Harrison Ford and his family. And then you got Spencer Dutton, who is his nephew, who's in Africa.
Do you think because this show is like very like spin-off heavy and likes to be like, inclusive, like all different shows, that's like set up for something in the future potentially?
Oh, maybe. I kept wondering it because I also started watching Yellowstone a couple weeks ago. It's very boring, so it's really hard for me to get through. But I really like the prequels, which is really weird. It's just paced differently. But there's a reservation that plays heavily into the plot line of Yellowstone, and I was wondering if that was like set up for that.
Maybe,
and it could still be because there's a second season coming. But I right now I'm just kind of confused why it was even included.
Yeah.
But while you're watching Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren and their family and the Yellowstone and everything going on in Montana, and Timothy Dalton is awesome in the show. He's a creep. And then there's Spencer Dutton, who's in Africa, who's falling in love with this British girl named Alexandra, and it's amazing and it's a wonderful love story, and I was completely invested in it. Honestly, like one true pairing. I love them to death. He's like this hunter who's like killing deadly animals, and then she swoons over him and like leaves her fiance and runs away with him to the plains of Africa where she almost gets eaten by lions. And
it's like it's like a 30s like romance novel.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And it's so compelling because the actors are clearly like they got great chemistry. I often talk about like the kind of chemistry where they like when they're not on screen, they're having sex. That chemistry, and I'm like, yeah, this is the good chemistry. But then so like it has all that, and that all has to do with it's all of the Duttons, and then this Native American plotline. I'm like, oh right, I forgot we're doing this Native American plotline too. But it's really good. I really enjoy it. I highly recommend it. Honestly, if you don't even watch Yellowstone, if you know nothing about the show Yellowstone, it's really compelling in its own right. You don't need to. It's only 8 episodes and they're incredible. I really liked it. That's it.
Love it.
For a week. Shall we introduce the world to Babs once again?
Bread and butter time. Babs.
For those of you who don't know, that is our news theme song. Our news spokesperson.
Also named after not named after, but shares the same name with the pink bunny from Tiny Toons.
Does it?
Yeah.
Babs.
Yeah. Babs and
Yeah.
Buster.
Oh, that's right. They had different names because they weren't younger versions of Bugs Bunny. That's right. Oh man, I forgot all about that show.
I was cycling through my games, and I have the Tiny Toons Babs Big Breakout Game Boy game. So yeah. Anyways, sorry, rant. Let's go do news.
It's fine. I love rants. They're wonderful. All right. Some sad news up top. Leiji Matsumoto, who is the creator of Space Battleship Yamato, among others, big manga anime guy, passed away at the age of 85 due to an acute heart failure.
Yeah, this is I haven't watched this, but I know this has a lot of like legacy and a lot of inspiration for a lot of things. Like this did come out a couple years before Star Wars, and it's not like this was anything Star Wars took a lot of, but like you could see it in there too. Just like some of like the designs and stuff. That's a shame. Rest in peace.
Space Battleship Yamato has one of my favorite images of just because it's what I really like about it is that it wasn't just like, so the Yamato is like a really famous Navy ship in Japan. It's was part of the Japanese Navy, I think, during World War II. But it, instead of like making a spaceship called the Yamato, they just made the Yamato and put it in space with like rocket sheds on the. It's one of my favorite like designs. It's just like a ship that you would see in the ocean, but just in space.
Yeah, it's got a good look to it. Yeah, I've never. Well, this unfortunately now this will probably making me check it out, but this is unfortunate.
Yeah, Steven Universe, the creator of Steven Universe, said that his work was a big inspiration to that show specifically. So, yeah, that sucks. Really prolific guy.
Yeah.
Some video game news. Call of Duty news that I thought was kind of cool. Microsoft has signed a 10-year contract to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms on the same day as their release on Xbox.
Yeah, have any of you guys been following the Call of Duty, or not Call of Duty, the
Activision?
Microsoft, Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft?
Not closely.
A little bit, yeah.
So people are saying that the reason why Microsoft is doing this is because right now this acquisition is being heavily scrutinized, and it's also being blocked over in England.
Interesting.
Yeah, the British lawmakers are saying that this is gonna cause a monopoly. It's gonna not bring competition, and if it's blocked in England, there's a very high chance it's gonna be blocked here. So essentially, people are saying this is Microsoft's way of trying to say, no, we're not gonna be monopolistic. We're gonna bring Call of Duty to other games, and I'm paraphrasing, but Sony is also throwing a bit of a hissy fit, saying that Microsoft shouldn't have this because it's gonna be monopolistic, yada yada yada. Because it's a very big acquisition of a lot of Activision Blizzard has a lot of studios underneath it. So
yeah.
But it is cool that Microsoft is putting their foot forward and straight up saying that we are going to bring stuff to Nintendo. A 10-year deal is nothing to sneeze at. I
think we talked about it when this deal was going through. That Ryan, I think, speculated that Microsoft would do something like this, allow these games that would technically be exclusive to them because of the acquisition, but lease them out to other consoles like this.
Yeah,
it's still a way to make a lot of money. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they said they're going to license the titles. But I do know that British lawmakers said the deal can go through, but not with Call of Duty. As in, Call of Duty remains its own separate thing. The rest of Activision Blizzard can be owned by Microsoft, except for Call of Duty. And
it is a lot of their profit. Call of Duty's huge.
And of course, Microsoft is saying, but there is no deal without Call of Duty because they really want Call of Duty.
Of course, yeah.
Call of Duty has never been on Nintendo platforms, has it?
It has. I mean, the main
not every single one, but it has.
No, right. But yeah, there's like a few DS games. I want to say there's a few Wii U games, but it's been like up and down. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
Sure.
The thing about this is like to have it be day and date. Like whether you like them or not, Call of Duty, every new Call of Duty is like the best looking game when it comes out. Like they put so much money into Call of Duty. Like those games look incredible and they play incredible. Quite frankly, the Switch cannot run a tenth of what Call of Duty's trying to do. And there is, a lot of games now are doing a Switch specifically is doing streaming, like cloud service, but not everyone has good internet. So like, unless they're just going to make a really fugly game, then like, I don't know anyone who personally is going to choose to play Call of Duty on the Switch as opposed to any other console. That's the thing. And there's a small market, but like who would play it, but like it's not a lot. Like they don't go to Switch for these mature shooters.
No, I mean I would speculate that a lot of Switch owners are also dual console households where they have the Switch and they also have an Xbox or a PlayStation, much like a lot of us, like the three of us, or four of us, including Sparks. At the same time, when I hear Call of Duty, that's like that's PlayStation and Xbox and PC. Those games make those systems and PCs, whereas Nintendo, no. I hear Call of Duty on Nintendo, I run far away. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, and already it's like, hey, let's play Call of Duty on Nintendo. I'm like, hell no.
Yeah, it is literally like my last choice I would choose. I now own everything. I don't own a new Xbox, but I do own an Xbox, which is, like backwards compatible with everything. So I don't really care. But like, I'm not going to handheld play the newest Call of Duty. Like that just seems silly.
No.
Blumhouse. Blumhouse has launched Blumhouse Games, which is going to be a studio that will produce original horror video games for mobile, PC, and consoles. So not just based on their original IP, but like original ones that they've come up out of thin air.
That's cool. Could be really good for horror fans.
Yeah.
Blumhouse has made some pretty damn good horror films, and they can. And the correlation between what makes a horror game great, in my personal opinion, is your constant sense of dread and suspense. Like every turn you go is like something. I mean, it's not just like jump scares. I mean, yes, Five Nights at Freddy's is very jump scare heavy, but also you have a lot of other games with like a bunch of body horror, like Resident Evil 4, which, by the way, the trailer looks freaking dope. I feel like Blumhouse can knock it out of the park, especially if they're part of the story side and they help with like creating the worlds and crafting the worlds of how the games are, like the world of the games. Mm-hmm. So at least I think this could be a smash hit for horror game fans, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and the thing about horror games is like a lot of them, like they can be indie. Like too close to the camera. Like a lot of Blumhouse movies, like they're lower budget, and that doesn't mean bad. That just means like they know how to make a good movie on a lower budget. So they can make great games on a lower budget too, especially horror games. That's where they thrive. I'm looking at their like filmography, and I'm like, yo, like Megan, The Purge. There's even if they do original stuff, they have a couple Upgrade. There's a couple franchises that could make great games. Like I'm imagining like a 4v1 like Dead by Daylight, but you play as a Megan. And that'd be really fun. I think. Or like
a Purge survival horror game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I think this is a totally fine idea. Like it's just I know Jason Blum likes video games too, and that dude he just wants to expand the empire. And I'm like, go for it, man. As long as you put quality and love into it, like I have no problem with this.
Me neither.
Did you guys see the set? They're building the set for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
Looks so good. I'm excited. And then a surprise announcement: Mortal Kombat 12 is apparently going to be released this year.
Yeah, it was a surprise to Ed Bloom, the founder of NetherRealm Studios, too, because this happened during a stockholders meeting with executives, where he's like, "Hey, here's all the great things coming out this year. We have this. We have the newest Mortal Kombat coming out later in the year." And then Ed Boon on Twitter was like, "You guys hear any great announcements today that I didn't hear about?" And everyone's like, "Oh, Ed, we're so sorry," because this happens more often than not, specifically with video games, because they get announced so late or so early and stuff like that. And this was a trajectory. Like we knew a new game was going to come out eventually, but to not have it be by the guys making the game itself is a big bummer. That's really cool though, because I know we all love Mortal Kombat, and that just means, hey, that means that we get a new game this year. Hot dog.
Yeah.
I would say that those investor meetings are really. It's crazy that we're getting news announcements from investor meetings these days. It's really dumb, honestly.
Sometimes, real quick, Ben. Sometimes, like they're more subtle about it. Like, hey, we have new entries in our biggest franchises, but sometimes they do have to be more specific. And I wonder if it's also because it's like Warner Brothers, and that's like with their video games, they're like, hey, don't worry about our video games. We have the new Mortal Kombat, which is a huge movie franchise too, and stuff. So like, sometimes they got to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
True. This entire thing kind of reminds me of when Smash Melee was announced for the GameCube, because Sakurai didn't know. Sakurai had no clue that, and then it's like they're like, "Hey, we're making a Smash Bros. Game," and Sakurai's like, "What? What the F do you mean we're making a Smash game? I didn't know about this."
Yeah, it's always the people upstairs who know before the people downstairs. Which is fun.
And then, of course, Melee comes out and turns out to be one of the best games on the GameCube ever made. I mean, cool. More Mortal Kombat. Yay! I'm not mad about it. I'm all for more Mortal Kombat. I'm just kind of bummed Ed didn't know about it first, because you would think it's like, hey guy, can you like hurry it up? Because I'm really scared now that it's like, hey, it's coming out this year. I really hope NetherRealm Studios doesn't enter a really bad crunch time.
Well, I mean,
really hope that does not happen.
Mortal Kombat 11 came out like 4 years ago, so I'm sure if it's coming out still like in 8 months, like I'm sure they'll be fine.
Okay,
That's a good point. It's been a few years now. Probably crunch wouldn't have come into it.
right.
Yeah. And they're a studio who like they usually do their stuff on their own time too, because they're a big enough studio. Like, and we haven't heard bad things from that studio, at least is what I mean to say, because it could always be hidden. The most interesting thing, because it's not Injustice 3, which a lot of people speculated, but because of a lot of the Warner Brothers shakeup stuff, like they said, hey, we're not doing Injustice. We're not going to tell you what we're doing. We only make one other game, so guess what it is? But it's not Injustice. The way Mortal Kombat 11 ends, and we will get through it eventually on Basement Arcade. The way Mortal Kombat 11 ends, I have no idea what this new game could be, and that's really exciting because it is like, without spoilers, like it's like a new foundation for like it might be a reboot, is what I'm saying. Like it might be a brand new thing. That's what I'm most excited about. And when we'll see, it's exciting.
Did they announce Injustice 3? I could have swore I saw.
No.
Oh, it was probably fake.
I am on that Injustice news hardcore. All the leaker sites, all of it. I'm like, give me it. Oh, Constantine's in it. No, it's not. It's fake.
Yeah, okay. There has been a lot of talk about it coming, but there has been no announcement.
Yeah.
Because even I've seen it, and if I'm seeing video game rumors like, oh, Injustice 3, Injustice 3, like there's a lot of it. Yeah. Stay tuned for Mortal Kombat 11 on Basement Arcade.
Get over here.
I'm excited to play that, honestly.
Never get tired of saying that.
I know. Some comic book adaptation news. We'll start with Dead Boy Detective. Dead Boy Detective is not dead, surprisingly. This was started as the spin-off to Doom Patrol and then evolved into its own thing. But it is not going to be on HBO Max anymore. It will be on Netflix. So they've moved it to Netflix rather than canceling it.
I'm glad they're not canceling it, but I'm like, it could just be its own show on HBO. Like,
yeah, that was weird. It kind of feels like, well, so the reason is because it doesn't fit with Saffron and Gunn's plan, and I think maybe because Dead Boy Detectives doesn't star any DC characters, really. I mean, Dead Boy Detective are DC characters, but there's not like Moon Girl, yeah, Marvel character. There's not, you know what I mean? There's not like a Superman or a Batman in this. So I guess
even more reason that it can't just be an HBO show, right?
Yeah, but so I wonder if maybe they want to lump it in with Sweet Tooth and Sandman on Netflix.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Just make it is still a comic book adaptation. Yeah, that's as long as it's not getting canceled. I guess that's the important thing.
Yeah, it is weird. And I kind of understand because, like I said, Sweet Tooth and Sandman are also on Netflix, and they're getting new seasons, and hopefully won't end anytime soon. So maybe they're just like, you know what, it fits with them, so that'll be like DC on Netflix or Vertigo, even just call it Vertigo on Netflix.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
could be.
Yeah, Mag. Yeah, there was an animated gorilla show that got canceled.
Was there?
That is a large bummer in the heart.
Yeah. Something is killing the children. Not actually. This is the comic books.
Not yet.
It is going to be adapted. James Tynion the Fourth's comic book series. Something is killing the children. We already knew it was getting an adaptation. Now we know who from. Netflix has re-upped a 5-year deal with the creators of Dark and 1899, Baron Bo Odar, and John Tier Fries. They will adapt the show.
Yes, I believe, because both those shows are German, so I believe they are also German. But I have not watched 1899, and I haven't finished Dark. But what I've seen of Dark is an incredible show. They do incredible atmospheric mystery shows. There aren't a lot of shows that I think can actually be compared to Twin Peaks in terms of atmosphere and spookiness. But Dark is one of those shows. They have a vibe to the shows they make that are just really, really intense. And we've all read volume 1 of Something is Killing the Children. It's about monsters eating children, and this girl, like a Buffy type character, slaying these monsters. So that's perfect. That's awesome. I love this comic. I'm glad it's becoming a real thing with like creatives who I believe in. So like I only have faith in this. This is good.
Yeah, this was, it's a nice consolation prize for canceling 1899.
Yeah, it's 100% true. A 5-year deal means like this is probably going to be like a five or hopefully a multi-season show. Gets more than Netflix too.
And they'll I mean, the 5-year deal also means that they can develop other shows. So that's good. Yeah, good for them. I'm glad about that. The Umbrella Academy has cast Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally as Dr. Jean and Jean Thibodeau. It's Gene and Jean.
Two different genes. Very cute.
They're community college professors in the Midwest. And David Cross has been cast as Cy Grossman, an upstanding but shy man desperate to reconnect with his estranged daughter.
I'm sure we talked about Umbrella Academy getting another season, but I guess I just completely forgot because I saw this news and I'm like, oh, word? Oh, now I'm going to catch up with that last season. I like all these actors. That's great. And these guys always showing up together as a married couple in real life in shows. Like they always have great chemistry. So like, I'm all about it.
It's the 4th and final season coming up.
Cool.
Oh, I definitely need to catch up then. But yeah, every time I hear Nick Offerman's casting something, I always get excited. I love that guy. I love that actor.
Oh yeah, why haven't you watched The Last of Us then?
Shut up.
He did say he get excited. He doesn't say he jumps on it.
No,
I said it got excited.
True.
I said it got excited.
I'll allow it.
I have to. I cannot tell you. Sorry, quick tangent. I cannot tell you how many times I have to keep reminding myself that Metalbeard from the Lego Movie is the same person as Ron Swanson. They're voiced by the same guy, and it blows my mind every time.
He loves bacon in America.
Sparks and I did a Fake Nerds watch on Umbrella Academy season 3. It's I think it's a really good season. It is a step down from season 1 and 2. And I'm hoping a 4th season allows them to go out strong.
Here's hoping.
Wonder Man news. The show that is yet to be officially announced by Netflix by Marvel. Lauren Glazier, who is in Mindhunter, has been cast in the series. We don't know as who. Demetrius Gross from Fear the Walking Dead and Rampage is in talks to play the Grim Reaper, that character. And Stella Meghi, sure, the director of The Photograph, is going to direct multiple episodes of the series, as well as Daniel Destin Cretton, who we knew was developing the show. He will direct multiple episodes as well.
He's Shang-Chi?
Yeah, he's the director of Shang-Chi.
Also, one of the Avengers movies?
Kang Dynasty, I think, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And he's doing TV. Good for him. I love that dude is committed to Marvel. That he'll do TV show. Cool. I was like, who's Lauren Glazer? I recognize her. She's cool. Grim Reaper, who is the brother of Wonder Man, is a great stupid villain. He's got a giant scythe for a hand. He's got a Green Reaper look, and he's got a cape, and he's a giant scythe. He's super dumb. He's an enemy in all the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games because there's a fun dude to fight with a scythe hand. Of course he'll show up. It makes sense. It's his brother. The show's still happening. It's cool. That's a cool one. This is a Hollywood-based show, so I'm excited to see how they do that with superhero stuff.
Me too. This is we all thought he would show up in Vision and WandaVision because he's in Vision. And there's that there's a tease.
He's in the opening credits. You see his helmet and his scythe, and they're burying his dead body, so people thought oh, he will never show up. And I'm like, ooh, plot twist.
But now we're finally getting that. Cool. Thunderbolts has cast Steven Yeun as an unknown role who will be important to the MCU going forward.
Get that Marvel money. Yes.
Hell yeah, Steven Yeun's great. Man, boy howdy. I always love when big actors, and specifically when Marvel's they're casting a big role. Because then fun comic book speculation could start. And specifically with the Thunderbolts, if you're looking at that, that bubble of characters. There's not a lot of characters really he could be unless they're just changing the race of the nationality of the character, which is totally fine. That's not a big deal. Everyone immediately went to Amadeus Cho. Stephen Young is 40. Amadeus Cho is like 20.
No,
sorry, y'all. He's a little late. 10 years ago, maybe, when he was Glenn. Not right now. He's in dad mode now. One of the biggest and I think most fun speculations was that he's the Molecule Man. Because not only is the Molecule Man someone who is important to the future of the MCU, specifically with Secret Wars, because he is the power that is keeping Battleworld alive, the multiple universes in one planet. It's his power that's keeping it alive through Doctor Doom. Molecule Man is a villain of the Thunderbolts, and he shows up in the Thunderbolts Dark Avengers with Norman Osborn and that whole Thunderbolts thing. So like there's a perfectly good setup for him to be that character who is a kind of a villain, can be hero at times. He could also just be literally anybody else, but like, you know, that was the most fun idea of like, oh, Molecule Man is a really fun idea. He's really kooky too. But you know, Thunderbolts, who knows? He could just be the president's assistant. Who knows?
Sure. The most important person in the MCU, the president's assistant.
Hey, he could be a secret scroll. Who knows?
What if he's Rick Jones?
Listen, I love Rick Jones. Rick Jones is like the secret, like he's like the secret. He's like Jimmy Olsen to the entire Marvel universe. He has been the sidekick of everybody. He is like the focal, like human lens of the entire Marvel universe. And I think it would have been cool to have that for the MCU. I think it's a little late now, especially when he's 40 years old. But you know,
Ben, you were going to say something?
No, not really. I'm just happy that he's getting another big comic book role because first Glenn, Walking Dead, Invincible, and now he is good. He got Marvel, which is arguably the biggest thing in film right now, money wise at least. So get that money, dude. Get that money, Steven.
Whenever a new actor is cast of someone like Stephen Yeun, who was in an Oscar-nominated film, Minari, people are always like, "Oh, save him from Marvel," because you know the internet is dramatic. But like, he's a nerd. He's 100% a nerd, and he really likes and he really likes doing these comic book roles.
And it's not like he has agency in his own life, and he didn't choose to sign onto this movie to make millions of dollars. Like, come on, y'all, it's his life too.
Hey, internet, you guys do realize that you can be amazing actors in Oscar-nominated films, but also be big nerds at the same time, right?
Yeah, but or just be an actor, like Jonathan Majors is a Creed and Ant-Man in the same like month. Yeah,
exactly. I really like Stephen Yeun as an actor and a voice actor specifically because I think that he, and this is why I know he's a nerd because you know he's in a bunch of geek shows. He was the lead character in Voltron, Legendary Defender, and he's incredible in that show. He's the lead character in Invincible, and he's incredible in that show. The Walking Dead, he's really great. And the thing is like the thing that I think is always so interesting is obviously like the internet is really dramatic, especially when it comes to the MCU these days. And so when you see something like this, and it's like, but it's like Michael B. Jordan being cast in a Dragon Ball Z movie, right? Like if that were to happen and Michael B. Jordan was cast as Vegeta, that's not going to happen, but just in case, because like he would probably wanted to do it because he's a nerd and he likes doing these things.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it confirmed that his Killmonger costume is
Vegeta's costume?
Yes. Exactly. It's Vegeta.
Yeah.
That's why I specifically said, man, but how cool would that be? Michael B. Jordan as Vegeta?
Take my money.
We listen, in our lifetimes, we will see something live action related with Dragon Ball again. Yeah. But will it hurt us again like it did last time? That's the real question. Because that's a tough franchise to pop. That's a tough franchise to pop on live action. That's tough.
Yeah.
But now let me tell you, not everything that Marvel does is exciting to me because they also announced that Rogers the Musical will be coming to the Hyperion at Disneyland's California Adventure.
Thank God I'm not the only one who's like, about this.
Listen, we are, I'm not going to say the minority. I think it is like 50-50. Like you like it or you don't. And I'm like, if they think it'll get that much like attention, then like, cool, I guess. But like I will be missing that one act play, my friends.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, look, I will always and forever be an Aladdin stan. I loved the Aladdin show at the Hyperion. I absolutely adored it. Playing the genie in Jafar was one of my dream roles when I was trying to hunt for jobs and constantly refreshing the audition page for Disneyland. I never got the chance to see the Frozen show. I heard it was pretty damn good. I mean, it kind of makes sense because Avengers Campus is right next door, and that
but
area.
the point it doesn't though, because the point of that musical is that it's bad.
Yeah,
that
true.
people don't like.
True. I don't know.
Because at the beginning, when Hawkeye is watching, he's like, "This is unbearable. I need to leave."
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I hated it too. I was right there with Hawkeye.
When
when
that was the post credits of Hawkeye, I was like, "Wow, you really overestimated how much we would like this musical."
See, here's the thing. I thought the joke was that it's bad, and then when I saw the online reception, we're like, "Oh, this is incredible," and I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah, me too. I was like, "Wait,
I don't want to be mean to people." Oh man. It's just not for me. I'm going to say it's not for me.
Thankfully, it's one of those things that at California Adventure you could just skip completely, which is probably what we'll do. Unless
bring back Flynn's Arcade.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, they will, and they'll rename it with Jared Leto's new character.
Leto's Arcade.
Again.
No, but guys, now that I'm like full, I cannot tell you how much I loved Flynn's Arcade back in the day.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
I kept some tokens too. They're somewhere. I kept those damn tokens. I'm like, I'm not losing these.
Oh, I got them somewhere too. Yeah.
Oh God. And now man, I miss Electronica. Electronica was fun.
Comic book news, Ben.
Comic book news. Sorry.
I'm gonna do the less exciting one, and then I'll do the exciting one. So I mean, I think they're both kind of cool, but one's clearly the better one. So there's Night Terrors. So KNIGHT, Night Terrors, which is going to be written
shining armor knight.
Yeah, like the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Joshua Williamson will write this with art by Howard Porter, Guillaume March, and others. Don't have a full list of artists yet. And this will see the Trinity investigating a murder which leads them to the realm of nightmares.
Trinity being
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually thought like knights like King Arthur knights, but still cool, neat.
No, this is a DC comic. Did I forget to mention that?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, the DC comic.
DC comic. Got it. Yeah. Also, Grayson's in the chat. I miss Aladdin too, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, he's on Disney Plus. He's there. He's just waiting for you.
Yeah, there's 4 Aladdin movies on Disney Plus.
There you go. Yeah. Sorry, there's a dog barking, but I gotta talk real quick. I love a good Trinity book. I know we were talking about why not just make more Trinity books like a couple weeks ago or something, and like, hey, they're doing one. That's cool. I love Gillen March's art. He's a Tom King Batman collaborator. That dude is insane. Howard Porter, not so much. His style doesn't work for me. He's like kind of like an older artist who just doesn't really work for me. It sounds cool. I'm into it.
Is this based in the same universe as Dark Knights of Steel or no?
No.
Well, it is. No, it's not Dark Knights of Steel. It's set within continuity. It's a Trinity book.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they didn't say, but I think it's probably a miniseries, like a 6-issue miniseries.
It's probably a miniseries, like with like different artists on each issue or something like that.
But yeah, this will be in continuity and like that. Joshua Williamson has been writing. He's right now heading up the Superman books. He's basically spearheading the direction of DC Comics right now. So
neat.
This is kind of what he's doing.
Good for him.
Apparently, Superman's great. I haven't had a chance to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm eventually going to trek to my closest comic shop, which is not very close.
Rip.
Now, the exciting one.
Because
Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. It's really cool. It's really great when Ryan's alone because he's just spinning in his chair.
Okay, audio listeners, you didn't see this because Ryan guffawed and he's in a spinny chair and he's just like spinning around like a supervillain. It was great.
And my cat is just out of sight, so I couldn't have her on my lap either.
So Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch are teaming up for a 4-issue miniseries called Ultimate Invasion. This will see the return of the Ultimate Universe, which has returned twice already. But this will be like the return. This is like the big one. The Ultimate Universe reached its cataclysmic end in 2015's Secret Wars, written by Jonathan Hickman. But nothing stays buried in Marvel Comics for long. Is it time for the Ultimate Universe to make its grand return? The Maker seems to think so, and the Illuminati must form once again to stop him from his plans to destroy or perhaps rebuild the universe, with Miles Morales at the center of it all.
Spicy.
This is Ben. I want to hear your thoughts first, because like this is like such incredible comic book news.
Thanks to Marvel Unlimited, well, I haven't read the Ultimate Universe, but now, I mean, well, I haven't re-upped my subscription either, so I need to do that. Thank you, Text Return. With Marvel Unlimited, I can now read a bunch of the Ultimate Universe.
Have you not read how much?
Any?
I've read parts of Ultimate Spider-Man, which was the book club.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
But besides that, not so much. But I have seen a few YouTube videos. I mean, I'm not saying like I am a Ultimate Universe scholar, not even close. But every YouTube video that mentions
Here, Ben,
the Marvel Ultimate Universe,
borrow my Ultimate Spider-Man collections. Here you go. Just take it. Just take it through the screen. Just here you go.
just have. I wish I could have that power sometimes.
Right.
But this sounds great. This sounds awesome. And once I re-up my subscription to Marvel Unlimited, I will be doing my damnedest to read some Ultimate books.
It's not all good. It's not all good.
No,
But
there
I
are
wanna read-
there are some doozies in the Ultimate Universe. Sparks and I were reading it pretty religiously when it was first coming out. I dipped off a number of years ago, prior to Secret Wars. I think like a year before Ultimatum is when I dipped off the Ultimate Universe. But I liked what I read, except for Ultimate Fantastic Four. I just could never get into Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big fan of okay, this is just the design. I haven't read the book, obviously. I was not the biggest fan of Ultimate Iron Man's design.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ultimate Iron Man's book.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I got it up there. Man.
Written by Orson Scott Card.
Yeah, listen, when I was younger, I didn't know any better.
Yeah, seriously.
Why is that name?
Like he wrote Ender's Game.
That's okay, yeah, and he's the big homophobic jerk. Got it.
Yeah, so Ultimate Iron Man, like it's really bad. It's so bad they retconned it in universe to be an in-universe movie based on Tony Stark's life.
I'll tell you what, it's got really cool ideas, but like it does not hold up whatsoever.
No,
it's not.
It's the one Ultimate Universe book that I really wanted to read was Cataclysm. That's where the other Galactus, the World Eater Galactus, not the Galactus Swarm, comes to the Ultimate Universe, and Thor traps himself with Galactus in the Negative Zone.
That was in the Negative Zone. That was like a year and a half before Secret Wars was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was that book, because like there was an event in the Marvel universe that Galactus was a part of in 616 that transferred him to 1610, which is the Ultimate Universe designation. Okay. And that saw like the death of like Captain America and Thor, and they were just gone from the universe. And then Secret Wars happened like a year and a half later, and it didn't matter.
I don't know why, but that Cataclysm, just seeing the cover of the trade, and every time I go to a comic book conventions, I look for that damn trade. No one seems to have it, which kind of pisses me off. I don't know why, but I think that's one of the books that kind of sparked my fascination with Galactus as a character. And then I always talk to Brandon about it. I'm like, yo, he eats planets? That sounds rad.
You didn't see Rise of the Silver Surfer?
No, I didn't.
That's actually fine. I'm fine with that. Ryan, did you ever read the Ultimate Comic? Because when I was working at Earth 2 Comics, I would read some of the later Ultimate books, the ones that were coming out just before Secret Wars. There was one Ultimate FF which had Sue giving birth to Ben's son, because Sue Storm and Ben Grimm were a couple and not Mr. Fantastic. But from that universe, Miles Morhamus came from the Ultimate Animal Universe, so it's Miles Morhamus.
Galactopus was there and everything.
Galactopus. And
it's Ultimate FF by Joshua Fialkov, and that book was canceled immediately because that book was so weird and dumb. But that book is awesome.
I really like seeing Simeon. Real quickly, I just want to say Simeon Storm and Doctor Doom.
Yeah, it's all Galactopus. Yeah, like all the big puns you can think of. Yeah, Miles Morhamus, absolutely.
Doctor Doom, I read that, but I just want to bring up Grace. I just want to bring up Grayson's comment real quick on him. What the heck? I just saw Ultimate Iron Man. You looks like a sad C-3PO.
He's got a lot of like circles. Yeah, it's a goofy design, but they had to do something different. So like, what are you gonna do?
So real quickly, I just want to say finally before we get Ryan into this, because obviously Ryan is probably the most excited of us all. The idea of like the Ultimate Universe returning has been peppered throughout the Marvel Universe for a while. There was Spider-Man, the ending of Spider-Man 2 has the 616 Miles Morales end up in the Ultimate Universe. And it looks fine. The Ultimate Universe looks like it's fine. And then there's, I think, not King in Black. I think Absolute Carnage #4 ends with the Maker having made it back to the Ultimate Universe, and it doesn't look fine. Like, it looks like it totally like run down. Something bad's happening there, and so that now we're here when the Maker is back.
Also in Miles Morales Spider-Man by Saladin Ahmed, the Green Goblin, the Ultimate Green Goblin, showing up and he's causing a ruckus. And you're like, how did he get here? Why is he here? Stuff like that. So like, yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like anyone's been talking to each other about like the return of the Ultimate Universe. It's kind of like, oh, we're just kind of throwing fun ideas up in the air. But now, like, that it's coming back, they can just do their own big thing. And like the most important thing, honestly, is that Miles is going to be the center of it, because, man, like, I love Miles Morales as a character. Like, it's awesome that he's thriving on the big screen, but like, people don't care about his comics. And it's because he lost what was special about him, that he was the Spider-Man of his own universe. There is now Peter Parker, and there's Ben Reilly, and there's 7 other Spider-Men. And it's like, he is now just another Spider character, where he's fighting just a lot of Spider-Man's villains and stuff like that. I'm like,
God, the same thing just happened to Gwen Stacy. Because Gwen Stacy is now banished from Earth 65 and is now just in 616. And that she's just another Spider person in 616.
I didn't even, because I haven't read that book in a while. She's Ghost Spider now, right? In this
she's
universe?
Ghost Spider, yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought so. She's just now just like, oh, I'm just gonna fight the Vulture or whatever. And I'm like, that's super boring, because that takes away the fun out of her character. So like, if like they are actually bringing an entire universe back, and like that splash page, that promo page has all of those characters. Like, some of those characters are dead. So like, whatever baloney comic book nonsense to bring these characters back is fine, because a lot of the way these characters died in those events was stupid and awful. So like, this is great. Like, having an alternate MCU, having an alternate universe where you can tell different stories, you can redo new older stories in new ways, is really fun. Again, I love creative storytelling, and like, oh, we're gonna tell the same story in a different way. Is like, that's why the Spider-Man comic, Bendis' Spider-Man, is so great, because it's using the familiar to tell its own story. This is just awesome, and it's Hickman. Shut your mouth.
I think Hickman is the perfect person to do this. And as you mentioned on Twitter, this isn't the thing that he's doing with Valerio Schiti.
He's still doing a different like cosmic, like his like big cosmic book that's like redefining the entities of the cosmos, which is wild. Like, he's full force like back at Marvel doing big stuff, and I'm like, I'm so glad.
And so, like, he really likes the Maker. If you read his Secret Wars, it's clear that he really likes the Maker.
Well, he wrote Ultimate FF, and he wrote like Ultimate X-Men, and he wrote like the best Ultimate Avengers books. Like, he is a big essential part of the Ultimate Universe.
Chris once told me that Secret Wars was being started in his Ultimate books, and then they liked it so much they just took him off those Ultimate books and put him on Avengers.
Yeah, and like, man, God, that Avengers book is so incredible, because again, like, the Maker, who is the evil Ultimate Reed Richards, he's the Ultimate Reed Richards who started as a good guy. He became a bad guy, and like, that is fascinating, because again, like, Reed Richards is one of those dudes, like, on like, in the right circumstances, he could become a bad dude. And that's like, again, like, the Council of Reeds is something that exists as well, just like the Council of Kings. So like, this is just really cool. And again, like, getting big, and Brian Hitch is a big proponent. Like, he's a guy who worked on the Ultimates with Mark Millar. I'm glad Mark Millar is not coming back for this, thank God. But like, Brian Hitch rules. Like, this is like they're putting their full ass into this like relaunch. And that just means there's like a dozen more books I'm gonna have to buy, and it breaks my heart.
But it's just really cool, because like, we're getting some really awesome Hickman things. We're getting the Maker. The Maker's been bouncing around before the Marvel Universe, and I really like the Maker as like a Marvel villain.
He was in Kate's Venom.
And so like, I'm happy to see him kind of become a prominent character again. We're getting the Illuminati back, which we haven't seen the Illuminati in ages.
Yeah, and that was all of Hickman's New Avengers book, was the New Avengers trying to stop Secret Wars from happening. It's just them blowing up universes, going, man, this sucks. We have to save the universe by destroying other universes. So like, them coming back is a big deal. Like the Ultimate Universe coming back, like, potentially is a bad thing, but in the end, it'll be like, okay, you guys can exist. That's fine. Which is cool.
I mean, they've been existing in the background. Might as well bring them to the forefront now.
Exactly. Yeah. Make a little cash money. New books. New heroes. You know, there's so many new heroes that they can put new spins on, like like Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, and like so many new fun spins. Like I am more excited than not, and most people seem to be too.
Yeah. Cool. Now let's talk about Welcome to Derry, which is the It prequel. This is going to be produced by Andy and Barbara Muschietti. Obviously, Andy Muschietti was the director of the first two It films, It 1 and Chapter 2. And he will apparently direct the first episode as well as others. Jason, look, it's Fuchc.
It's Fuchs.
Fuchs. I'm sure he likes to think it is.
No, because I have a coworker that's her last name. It's Fuchs. Yeah.
Okay, so it's Fuchs. This reminds me of I had a coworker with the last name Bonner, but it was spelled Boner.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate, that one. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so apparently he's credited as a producer, but Hollywood Reporter seems to think that he directed It Chapter 2, and I can't find clear confirmation on what his role in It Chapter 2 was, and it sounds like he did ghost direct It Chapter 2.
Could be like maybe like Little Apprentice, or did like a punch up, like ghostwriting or whatever, ghostwriting for It movie. Yeah.
But anyway, so this new series is going ahead at HBO Max, and it will expand the vision of the movies. So it's going to be set within the movies continuity. Yeah. If It Chapter 2 was better, I'd be more excited.
So does this take place the years before the events of the first movie?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if it's Bill Skarsgård, I mean, I have to assume it is because it's HBO money. I mean, I guess sure. It's not like, even if It Chapter 2 was good, like I don't necessarily need a prequel to it. Like personally, like I got my full of it.
I'll tell you what I don't want. I tell you what I don't want specifically. I don't want an origin story.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Because I don't want an origin story for Pennywise. I wouldn't mind if you want to go back 27 years, maybe even double that, and you do a story, just an early story of Pennywise. I'm okay with that. If you can make that good, I'm certainly going to be there for it.
Sure.
I don't want an origin story, and I'm worried that that's what this is.
Yeah, that feels like that's what this would be, is to explore Pennywise more, because like, I don't know if you're right. If it is just like another, we're just gonna do another It, but it's just a prequel, and it's just it's in 1950 and it's spooky, like that'd be good. But like, it does feel like they might explore the things that don't need to be explored. Yeah, let him just be a big spider monster.
I mean, we know he came to Earth from an asteroid. Sure, yeah, that's all I need to know.
There's like a 12,000 page book called It you can read if you want all that nonsense.
Yeah, Ben's read it.
It's his favorite author, his best friend.
Yeah, it's your best friend.
Oh yeah, Mag. Oh, bye Ben.
Bye Ben.
Mag's got a great comment. Yeah, I wouldn't mind the turtle tortoise opposite of Pennywise, but the mystery origin as good as it is. Yeah, there is a good like giant tortoise thing. Yeah, Stephen King, you wild. That's like Discworld.
There you go.
Welcome back.
If they want to do the tortoise thing, I'm into that.
Show me the tortoise, I'll watch your show.
Yeah, show me the tortoise.
That's the Ryan Leopoulos promise.
# show me the tortoise.
Show me the tortoise.
All right, and apparently Warner Brothers is developing new Lord of the Rings movies. Again, it came from the same thing that Mortal Kombat came from.
Big investor meeting. Here's all the things to not like. Don't sell your shares. We have all the things you want coming.
Yeah.
I only have one thing to say about this news.
Huh?
How about no?
I'll tell you what. Like the newest Lord of the Rings things we got, the Rings of Power, I quite liked, but it is not Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. So I just this was inevitable. Like I knew this was going to happen, and there is like that anime coming out next year that looks dope, which is cool. It just got to be like the right setting, the right time. Like I don't want it to be like a sequel and you bring back Legolas again. Like that's where you lose me. Like when you I don't want them to bring back old man Aragorn and his son. Like if anything, do what Lord of the Rings of Power did. Do it in a time period we haven't seen, so you can tell your own self-contained story in the lore. You know, you can be creative with it while, you know, still being in the guidelines of the story. I'm not wholly opposed, but like Rings of Power wasn't. I liked it, but it wasn't a 10 out of 10 where it makes me want more Lord of the Rings if it's not going to be those original movies.
Warner Brothers has burdened me with those Hobbit films, so I'm like, just stop. Just quit while you're ahead. I mean, if they do have an idea,
you got to think about it like this, right? Like, The Hobbit at least had source material to go off of, and Rings of Power had a paragraph to go off of, plus a lot of lore that they could pull from. But the Second Age is very ill explored, and they could do a lot of things. It's just, but based on what? What do they have? Because the rights of Lord of the Rings are really tricky with New Line Cinema. Like, this, the reason. It's the reason why. It's the reason why Rings of Power isn't the Silmarillion, because it can't be. They don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. Yeah. What do they have the rights to that they can do anything with?
I don't know Lord of the Rings lore enough, or how many other books came out and all that stuff to honestly say. Because I'm sure there's literally, oh, this one elf went on a 5-minute adventure that we could turn into a whole franchise. Like, I'm sure they got something. I don't know what it could be.
I can only think maybe the war between the elves and Morgoth.
That's you want to go back to First Age?
Going further in the past?
Yeah, further in the past. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, but I don't know.
They're saving that for the show, I think. I don't think they would want to shred that ground, even though like they like legally could, you know, for whatever, like, you know, like, because they're doing like, but I don't think they would want to tread on the same ground.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying don't.
Even so, like, if you did the First Age, you'd need the rights of the Silmarillion, because that's mostly the First Age.
And
like, if they don't, that's what I'm saying. They don't.
Why I'm worried. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm worried that this is going to be like, oh, it's Pippin and Pippin. What's his name? I forgot.
Merry and Pippin.
Merry and Pippin. Yeah, it's old Merry and Pippin telling a story, and it's going to be about like an adventure that we don't know about, and then it's going to be like half the cast returns for just like a 5-minute story that's in like an appendice or something, you know. And I'm like, the cash grab of it is what worries me the most, because I don't feel the Rings of Power is that. I feel like they do try to do something like nice with Lord of the Rings, you know. So like, until I know what the story is, like, once I see the words like Legolas or Aragorn, that's where I'm gonna be like, oh, son of a bitch, here
I'm out. Yeah,
I gotta tell you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Ryan, super applesauce got you your tortoise.
Thank you.
Hashtag show me the tortoise.
That show yet?
I just want to say that, like, I say what you will about the previous regimes who ran Warner Brothers, but at least they knew better than to make another Lord of the Rings. Zaslav was just like, let's do this. Why aren't we making more Lord of the Rings films? It's like, why aren't we making, what did he say recently? He said like ages ago, it's like, yeah, we're going to do Cursed Child. It's like, read the room, buddy. But like, why? He's probably walked in the room. Why aren't we making Lord of the Rings movies? Because there's no more books.
I didn't read all of it, but like he did, his statement reiterated something he said before of like, you know, we haven't had a Superman movie in this many years. We haven't had a Lord of the Rings movie in this many years.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's not necessarily like Superman, like we should get into Superman, but like we don't need a new Lord of the Rings movie. We just got a TV show that's getting a second season. Like we don't need it, you know? Like
no.
But you know,
there's no more books. There's no more books. There's no more books.
But again, like I don't need if it's a good self-contained story, I'll take it. But like, I'm just worried it is going to be a like completely original Merry and Pippin, because they're the easiest to get like cash grab.
I will say, it's entirely possible they've made a new deal with Christopher Tolkien and the Tolkien estate and are able to have more of the works. Now, it's known that J.R.R. Tolkien almost wrote a sequel to Lord of the Rings that he had almost completed and then decided against writing it. So there is a treatment around for a sequel to Lord of the Rings that's set in the Fourth Age, which is a possibility to make into a movie, possibly. But like, you know what? Okay, I will say, if they went that route and were like, hey, we're reviving a Tolkien work that he didn't finish, and we're going to do that with Christopher Tolkien's help. Okay, that's to me is something. That's to me like creatively something. But but outside of that, I'm not sure there's anything that you could do to get me like, yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah. And again, they're announcing this like so quickly after they just had like a big, like the biggest TV show ever made, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, let's hope this isn't just like a cash grab. Well, I mean, with Zavzlov, obviously it is, but like, let's hope they can get creative people behind it who actually care and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, like maybe they'd made a new deal with Christopher Tolkien. But this does remind me of when they were like, oh yeah, here's the first episode of the Flash TV show. And then like a week later, Ezra Miller casted the Flash.
Yeah. Very quick to do things, yeah.
Yeah. Trailers.
T-Talk.
Essex County.
Oi, we read this book club a mighty long time ago, but this is just a beautiful little Canadian drama written by the lovely Jeff Lemire. Drawn by Jeff Lemire, I believe as well. Yeah. This was announced very quickly, and then like we immediately like it was like, hey, I got a show coming. Here's a poster for it, and then like we got a trailer for it. I'm like, damn, Jeff, you're just like working. It's awesome. This looks really charming. It's got a great cast. This is on No.
This is a Canadian series, and we don't know where it's coming to the US yet.
I think because I was talking to Sparks about it, I think we speculated it'll probably come to Netflix because that's where Sweet Tooth is.
Sure.
So like they probably can make a deal there because like I don't think we're not gonna ever see this show. Don't make me pirate it, Jeff Lemire. I will. I'm a pirate, baby. I'll get my eye patch. Yeah, but this looks totally like a beautiful little story that Jeff Lemire had help creating. So it looks nice.
It looks just like the comic.
Yeah.
It's it's always Jeff Lemire's art style is really distinct and really interesting. And like, I don't think Sweet Tooth brought to life his artwork very well. I think Sweet Tooth took it in a different direction. I like Sweet Tooth a lot. I don't mean to begrudge it, but like, Jeff Lemire's art style is really stylistic, and it's really difficult to translate that. And I think they did a good job. Like, you look at that, I was like, that's Sweet Tooth. That's Essex County. Sorry.
I got you.
All right. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League had 2 trailers, but I guess we'll just talk about the gameplay, the 6-minute gameplay trailer.
Ben, did you watch the PlayStation State of Play?
I did not.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't.
Because most of it was the Suicide Squad stuff, so it's fine.
I watched the Suicide Squad thing, but when I heard about the State of Play and I heard about the Resident Evil 4 trailer, I went directly to YouTube.
Yeah. That's a good trailer. Looks good.
Yeah. So what do we think about what are we looking at with Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League?
Well, as the person who plays the most of these types of games, I honestly want to know what you guys think, because this is very like discourse, but like this has been very divisive of like what people expected, what people want, the state of live service games. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are, honestly.
Ben?
It looks pretty.
Yes. I think it looks stunning. Absolutely.
So the second I heard, when I heard Rocksteady was making a new game and it was going to be involved, they were going away from Batman, I was excited. The second I heard they're doing a Suicide Squad game, I wasn't really happy about that. And this trailer isn't grabbing me. This gameplay isn't grabbing me. It just looks like you have a bunch of different characters. They all use guns. They have a few cool abilities here and there. But other than that, it just looks like a third-person shooter. And there are other third-person shooters I would rather play instead.
It looks like everyone plays mostly the same. I get that they have like different like there's different like specials, like Boomerang can zip around with his secondary weapon, the boomerang. But like everyone's got a machine gun, everyone's got a gun, everyone's shooting. All the bad guys, they don't look distinct enough, and there's so many of them. There's just the fight sequences that we see in this just look like noise to me. There's like no strategy here.
They take a lot of bullets.
Yeah, and like I get that they didn't want to make Arkham 5, but like I expected better, I guess.
Yeah, so Gotham Knights was a game that looked very similar to this, but it wasn't live service. They took the live service out of it. They kind of gutted it, and they wouldn't have made the game better if it was live service. But by taking out a lot of the stuff, they made it worse because it had a lot of the same baggage of gear and loot and all of this nonsense and crafting. But it's just like kind of like a single player game, so it's a lot of nonsense. I am so mixed on this game because I think visually it looks great, and I think the movement, I think the way the characters get around looks awesome. Harley's basically Spider-Man. She has her own drone that she can send anywhere to do like to fly around. They said specifically the movement to action to movement is all like integrated, so you are moving and shooting a lot at the same time. So the combat itself looks really good. I agree with Brandon where they're all just using guns and it all kind of looks like you're just shooting a bunch of people. The fact that Captain Boomerang isn't using a boomerang as his primary thing is like ridiculous. I know it's a silly thing to say, but like he's Captain Boomerang. Like the Avengers games, like your main thing is like with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, you use an arrow. You're not using guns. You're using an arrow, like bow and arrow. It's what their characters do.
That's what I was thinking of. Like, you know, when you play the Arkham games, what I was so surprised about? Like, when you play the Arkham games, you play as Batman. You use batarangs. You use gadgets. You use strategy in those fights. I get maybe they just wanted to do like, okay, let's just make this easy for us because it's our first one. Just make 4 people who use guns. But I expect you to do something interesting with strategy. Like Boomerang,
but here's
be like strategy.
But here's the difference is like they didn't show it explicitly in this, but like, this is not at all the same type of game as Arkham. This is like Destiny. This is like Marvel's Avengers, where teamwork is essential. Where again, you're not seeing much strategy because there's not like people playing and talking. Like you're not seeing like the people communicating in this multiplayer scene you're watching. But like you do have to communicate. Hey, we all have to target the purple things on this thing if we want to kill the boss. You know, here's some ammo. Like there is all this stuff we just aren't seeing yet.
But as you mentioned with like Avengers, even like to just bring it with Avengers. Yeah, Avengers still has everyone play as a different character. Even I know that, and I only played the tutorial.
Yeah, it is, and it's starting with 4 characters. It is multiplayer, and again, you can play single player. You can play this entire game single player with AI bots, which is fine. But it is a mission-based thing where you're picking missions. You are adding difficulty modifiers. You know, like these enemies now have double the shield, and you'll get double the resources or whatever. Like it is that type of thing that all games are now doing in modern era, and it's just like. It is just a bummer, and like that has the battle pass, and like you get to level 50, and you get the exclusive original Captain Boomerang skin, and I'm like, if it wasn't the Suicide Squad, I might care more. And like again, these are characters I do like. I don't know if I'm gonna want to play a game for 2 to 3 years where I'm maxing out Captain Boomerang's pants because it gives you +5 like aim. Like it's just the gear score stuff. I just could not care less about at all. Like I just wish this were what Gotham Knights should have been from the beginning, what Marvel's Avengers should have been, just like a good single player story, like Guardians of the Galaxy. You just have a bunch of characters, you're having fun. But they want to squeeze every dollar out of you for as many years as they can. But they don't realize that by doing that, you're bunking the game from day one. At least the gameplay in this game, I think, looks better. But like I don't know, man. I'll be honest. Like, I'm going to have to wait for reviews because, like, this is the game I want to play. I think the cinematics look good. Again, I think this game visually is stunning. I think it looks great. They got a lot of money into it. Are they really going to kill the Justice League? Like,
no.
Here's the thing. Here's my big problem with this is, like, you are selling the game. The game is called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Okay. I'm still like hesitant. Are you actually going to do it? You show me this trailer where the Flash is like, Diana, you have to kill us. That's the only way. If this entire game, if I'm not killing the Justice League members, and like I just like, again, that's not me being bloodthirsty. That's like that's what you're selling me. It would be really, if this were the end of the Arkhamverse and the heroes of your universe are Harley Quinn and Deadshot, and they have to kill Superman to save the universe. That's really compelling, and I don't think they're going to do that because if they do, that's a hell of a game. But I don't think they're going to do it because this is a multiplayer game. You have to play every single day, multiple times to gain loot. And
sure. Yeah, and there's also just like, if this is, I kind of wish they didn't say when this was set in the Arkhamverse because Batman is in it, and like, I know it's 5 years after Arkham Knight.
It's like it's like 5 years later.
But like, I realize that realistically Batman doesn't die at the end of Arkham Knight, but it does kind of take away the emotion of that finale a little bit. For me, that is his trilogy ends with him giving his life for Arkham and stuff like that. I'm like, he shows up again as a boogeyman if you do like the whole 100% nonsense. But like, yeah, it's just like I almost wish it was just its own thing. Like if it wasn't part of the Arkhamverse, like because like it is kind of weird. Like that's the same Penguin that I've seen in 3 other games. Oh, okay, I guess sure. Yeah, I mean it's clearly the same voice.
It's Nolan North. Yeah, I'm just like. interesting. I like that it is villain based. Again, like you have like Gizmo and like the Penguin, like all these like weird guys showing up. Like all that's fun, and I'm just like, I just hope the boss battles are fun. Like if you're gonna have me fight the Justice League, like, and again, these are boss battles we're going to be doing like multiple times for years at a time. Like they better be good. Like,
yeah, like that was also like when you're seeing the boss battles and you're just like, shoot the purple thing on the back of the thing every single time. I'm like, I get it.
I mean,
don't
like
think
fighting
I'm
the
into
Flash.
that.
Like what is fighting
Get
the
up
Flash
on the Hydra's back.
Yeah. Like if the Flash has like a really fun, interesting, like cool God of War style battle where like you have to time him right, like when he's running really fast or something, or you like to do like combos with your teammates to stop him, like a Heimdall fight. Like that'd be cool, but like this doesn't have the Rocksteady like I'm sold 100% like their other 3 games, unfortunately.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge chat, Ben. If you want to bring up Grayson's chat real quick.
Yeah, Grayson says I do want to play it, but I might wait until there's a deal. I'm hoping it's better than what I'm thinking.
Yeah, me too.
I have something to say, but I'll say once we're done going through the chat. And Mag isn't saying, and the fact that it's Kevin Conroy's last role as Batman, and the game is run by servers with a time limit is kind of
that's my least favorite thing in modern gaming. If you play this game single player, you're still online. So if you lose internet playing by yourself, you will get cut off from the game. That's just like, why are we still doing this?
Don't do that. Just don't do that. That's a bad idea.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. My biggest thing about it is I'm just sick and tired of not the Justice League. I'm sick and tired of the Suicide Squad trying to go out and kill the Justice League. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm done. I feel like it's
it's very funny because this is the second time this has happened, and he's already tired of it.
I'm done. I am sorry. I am just done with this bit. It's like, we're gonna get these normal people to kill the most powerful people on the entire planet. No. Besides that,
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Besides that, everything you guys have told me about this game, how it's live service, constantly online, yada yada yada. No, I don't care. I do not care. I do not want. The story doesn't really interest me. I can see this in a comic book. I could see this. I technically saw this in a movie, a very bad one, mind you. And I'm just no. I am hard pass. I don't care. I just don't want to play it. There is a billion other games in my backlog and other games coming out that I would much rather invest my time and my money into. And this is not. This is on the very bottom of that list.
It's really funny because like this game has been in development for a long time. This got after that first Suicide Squad movie, and like regardless of quality, that movie made a lot of money, and like that became a brand, and Harley Quinn became a brand. Like they greenlit this game, and then they've been working on it for so long that people hated the Suicide Squad, returned on it because of the James Gunn movie. Now they love them again. But those characters, the only one who's in there is Harley Quinn. Deadshot's not in there. King Shark is in that movie. So like it worked out for them, right? Like half the squad is in that second movie. But I'm just like, I just don't know if people care about the Suicide Squad that much. Like honestly, like I like, again, like that movie's awesome, but like, do they have like, I guess Harley has enough to carry it, I suppose.
I think honestly, at the end of the day, the thing that's going to kill this game is the live service. I mean, we've seen it kill Avengers. We saw it kill Gotham Knights. I guess isn't dead, but like, how much do you hear about that game?
Is already less than. I could have bought it for $27, and I still won't do it.
Yeah, like these live service things, they don't last.
Is Halo Infinite technically live service?
Yes, and that game is suffering. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a bummer.
Look, I mean, if you find live service gold, that's Fortnite. Fortnite is live service gold. Maybe Valorant also, Apex Legends, but a lot those games.
Those work because.
Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
Let me finish, please. Thank you. Those games found the secret sauce. They found something that they could keep going. They could keep working where people come and play those games, millions of players every single day. Halo Infinite, players dropped off. Gotham Knights, players dropped off. Avengers, players really dropped off. We can't keep having these games with the live service model, and they don't have the secret sauce that Fortnite and Valorant can have.
But Ben, what you're missing is, and again, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. I'm not trying to cut you off. It's not cutting off. It's bouncing off of what you're saying. But here's the thing.
Apologize.
Here's the thing. The thing is, those games, they succeed because they're not story-based games. Fortnite is not a story. Fortnite is a battle royale.
Yeah.
That's the reason why those games work. If you try to put the story into those types of games, it kills them because people aren't interested in a 60-hour game spread out over 6 years.
Yeah. The only one that has successfully done that is Destiny, and they struggled for a long time.
Yeah. EA, when EA was part of Destiny's team in the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Bungie got bought, and then after many years of being really sad and hating their parents, they went independent again, which is great. That's why Destiny now is successful.
Yeah, and also, Brandon, I didn't mean to be so snappy. I was in the middle of a thought, and I just wanted to get my thought out first, and then we can,
That's fine. Let's move on.
Mea culpa.
The Pope's Exorcist. I think this was pretty cool.
I like this one, Ben.
No, I don't like possession movies.
Really?
I'll be honest. I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm kind of not that this movie. I think this is a good trailer. I don't think this was a good enough trailer for me to want to see like the 40th Exorcist movie in like 5 years, because there's like 5 Exorcist movies every year, and like I like Russell Crowe, but his silly accent isn't working for me. And it's just like there's nothing new happening in possession movies that makes me want to see him, because it's all the same neck cracky, crawling on walls, like spewing vomit. Like it's like this one looks cool, but like I personally am like it's not for me. I'll pass on it.
Yeah,
I really like this trailer. And honestly, I think this movie looks really cool. I like Ryan. I don't see a lot of Exorcist movies because oftentimes they feel very samey. There was the one that came out, I think, last year with the girl, with like the nun who we didn't see a trailer on the thing, but the trailer was everywhere. It's like the demon was like hunting her through her mom and through people through her, and that apparently was pretty good. This one looks really interesting because it looks like they're trying to find new ways to kind of make the Exorcist thing work. Not trying to do the Exorcist over again. We're trying to find ways to make it interesting again. And I think this film, I see that in this film, and I think that they probably succeeded. There's like a lot of at the end of the trailer, a lot of where this kind of like the Vatican has faced this demon before and we covered it up, and there's like the demon rising out that he thinks is an angel at first, and I think all of that is really cool. There's some really interesting imagery. I'm actually super interested in this one.
Oh yeah, I do think that one angel scene image was really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, one with the Virgin Mary.
Well, it's a demon, but yeah.
Yeah, or like air quotes Virgin Mary. I'm not the biggest fan of possession films. Like, I mean, yeah, The Conjuring is really good. I really like The Conjuring, but is The Conjuring technically a possession film?
I would count it.
Okay, I like The Conjuring, but at the same time, I no.
It gives you the oogly booglies.
It does give me the oogly booglies. I don't
now,
like
for Ryan, it's kind of an exhaustion thing about like his exorcism thing. For you, it's like a genuine fear of like this thing is too much for me. I can't deal with this.
It's just I don't like it. I don't like the way things go around in exorcism movies.
Like necks.
Yeah,
you know, like the way necks go around.
Crackety crack.
Not really.
Crackety crack.
Not really.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone's got their thing. What's mine? I'll find it later. Sisu.
Oh my god, yeah. World War II John Wick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this is on this list. This looks awesome.
I just love the quote, how the great I forget the quote exactly, but it's essentially it's like you've never seen Nazis getting destroyed better or something along that.
Like the best time you'll have watching Nazis getting destroyed. Yeah. It's about is he Swedish? What is he?
He's
Finnish.
Finnish. Thank you. Finnish. He's a Finnish veteran who lost his family, Punisher style. He's got a cute dog, and he just had enough of these goddamn Nazis. And it just looks like. And thank you. He found gold. That's the whole impetus of it. Yeah, he found gold. He's gonna be rich. The closest bank is 600 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
530. It's like 530 some miles away.
It's too far on a horse. But I didn't know this was a Red Band trailer. Did you guys watch the Red Band trailer where a knife goes through some dude's head?
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is the type of movie we're into. Okay, all right. Yeah, this looks just like like a good time at the movies. I love nothing's better than a good Nazi getting killed.
I love watching Nazis get killed. It's wonderful all the time. This one, I was not sure when I first saw this trailer circling the rounds. I was like, oh, it's like an A24 film. Okay,
Yeah, it's
and
a
then
drama.
and then people, and then like I watched it, it was like, oh, because you don't expect it. Like it sounds like it's like, oh, it's a drama. I just found gold. I'm gonna trek around. I'm gonna trek and protect my gold and become rich. No, it's he's just killing Nazis, and like I was shocked in a good way. And like there's some really great kills we see in this trailer, like the landmine landing on the dude and exploding.
Multiple
Beautiful.
explosions. This was a very body heavy trailer, which means like this movie must be super gory then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you, and they run through minefields, they explode.
Like just a foot flies through the screen.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because like the first guy runs, explodes, and then the second guy's keeping running, and then he explodes.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Hold up.
What does Grayson say? Yeah.
Grayson reminds me of a cross between John Wick and Gran Turismo. Maybe I'm missing the mark, but this one actually got me really excited.
No,
Maybe
that makes sense, right? Like
I was thinking more Inglourious Bastards, really, because of
Yeah,
all
I
the
would
Nazi
say
killing.
Gran Turismo.
I think he just means Gran Turismo just because he's an old man.
Yeah, maybe.
Where's
He's kind of just
super
a racist old man in that movie, though.
I'm sorry, Brad. You said Gran Turismo. I was like, the racing game?
No, that movie's coming out this year.
Maybe.
Have you got a movie on
Yeah,
it?
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp.
Yep.
We've talked about it.
You probably have. I just don't remember
Gran
that. Anyways,
Turismo 7 is now available on PlayStation VR 2, which is now out.
Nice.
Oh,
But
racing
going
games would be really fun in VR.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, they would.
All right. That's all the trailers. Sisu looks great.
Sisu does.
Shall we main topic?
Ooh.
Okay, we're going to be talking about Cocaine Bear, the latest film in the Bear trilogy. No, I'm kidding. We decided to do We Have a Ghost instead, written and directed by Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky and Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You.
Love those movies.
Yeah. So what do we think about We Have a Ghost?
I have seen one of those movies, and that being Freaky. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time with it. It was really good. It wasn't really a horror movie, and I just love the friendship between Kevin and Ghost Ernest. I love how David Harbour can do so much with so little of not being able to speak. I really liked this movie. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I will agree. I really like this movie. I do have one kind of just big problem with it. That is kind of just like, it feels like a part of the movie that if you just took this entire part out of the movie, I would have enjoyed the whole movie a lot more if it was just a little more focused. Because this movie's over 2 hours long, and that's not bad. But I think this movie could have been a lot better if you just focus a little more on the family and the Ernest stuff. But I had a great time.
Yeah. So full spoilers. I should probably set that up top. Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
I have one. I think Ryan and I might have the same big problem with this, and but outside of that, I think it's very funny. I think it's really sweet. I had a very good time with this one. So let's talk about what I think we agree on that problem. Tig Notaro.
Yeah, and it's not Tig Notaro herself, the ghost lady, the CIA lady.
Yeah.
Because I love them. They are so funny. I know they're on one of the Star Trek shows, Brandon.
Star Trek Discovery, yeah.
Yeah, they're a terrific comedian. I love their presence in anything. This movie is a really wonderful family comedy drama, and then this all of this other movie, all this X-Files part of the movie comes in, and it's not like I dislike what's happening. It just feels like it was two movies put together, and they don't vibe together very well. And by the end of it, I'm just like, this movie would have just been perfect if Tig was just a person who liked Ghost and wasn't part of this SHIELD operation who comes in with this random guy, and it's all of that stuff felt like WandaVision episode 4. I'm like, oh, these a bunch of this stuff showing up now, I guess. I don't necessarily need it. It's kind of just took away from the parts of the movie I really liked.
I feel the exact same way. Because when right before we started recording, I was trying to think of what my major problem with the movie was, and I just couldn't put. I know there was something about the movie that I think they could have changed or fixed or something.
Yeah,
and I think that's it. Because I was 100% more invested in the stuff with Kevin, his family, Fulton. I love Joy, and them interacting with Ernest, the ghost. I was more invested in that, and every time Tig Notaro's character Leslie comes on screen, I'm like, oh yeah, you're here too.
I wouldn't have minded it. My issue with it is that it comes to nothing, really.
Yeah.
It only serves to keep Ernest away from the family for enough time to have the third act start. But outside of that, once Tig Notaro's character doesn't come around, it doesn't have a third act reveal, that they're not part of the story after. They're really not part of the story at all, except to steal Ernest. And they have
a very quick, and I saw comment, they have a really quick like hero turn where like she's the one who captured Ernest, but like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. Ernest needs to be free, and turns on her own agents. And I'm like, this is a really quick arc that like honestly didn't need to be here. And like again, I really like Tig Notaro, but I'm just like, he could have just like edited this part of the movie out. If this were again like a tight 90-minute movie where it's just about the family and them going on like a road trip to learn about Randy McGovern, which is an awful name for I'm gonna call him Ernest. And like the plot with like the old man who killed him, like I love that entire through line. I'm a big fan of. It's just like, hey, it's time to bring like Fringe into this movie, and I'm like, why? What are we doing?
The fact that this is a comedy, but also there's a mystery to it, because I was invested in the mystery. I was invested in trying to find out what happened to Ernest. Like when he freezes in the park and the little girl on the merry-go-round, he gets the flashback of his daughter on the horses. I was like, ooh, that's a memory. That's a core thing. He misses his daughter. He had a daughter. Where's the daughter? And I don't know why, but I completely forgot that Tig Notaro's kid. How do you
Tig Notaro?
Tig Notaro. I almost said Naruto. I am sorry, Tig. I am very sorry. Tig Notaro's character, for a split second, I thought, does Tig play June? But then it shows up as Leslie. But then
honestly, I thought so too.
That would have been actually that would have been good.
I would have, because I was like, oh my god, she's fighting her dad. She's hunting down her father. And like, because in the very beginning of the movie, Leslie is like reading the story about a ghost, about how the ghost was like not fearful, but how the ghost was like dangerous, how the ghost presented itself to Leslie as a entity to be feared. And in my brain, and while I was watching this, I'm like, maybe that was Ernest before he lost his memory, trying to reach out to his daughter, and instead of reaching out to her to say, this is what happened, he unintentionally scared her and put her on the path to becoming this essentially pseudo ghostbuster.
That's such a better idea, Ben. Man.
I don't have them a lot, but every once in a while I come up with a little nugget here and there.
No, you're right, Ben. Like the biggest point is that but that would have connected Tig to the rest of the movie, and they're not. They're just not part of the movie until they abruptly show up.
Because that would have added like another like father relationship that Kevin is currently going through and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would have, because like when Ernest was in this cell and Leslie, Tig's character, was talking to him, I was like, is this the reveal? It's like, or did she know the entire time that that was her dad or her parent or their parent, whatever? And then it's just like it shows up as Leslie so and so. I'm like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah. Never mind.
Now, however, outside of that, I actually have very few problems with the movie. I think the movie is very funny. I was actually really surprised at how funny I found it. Oftentimes, the TikTok montage, it might be one of the funniest things I've seen this year.
Doing the Ernest challenge, run into a wall.
The Ernest challenge.
Jesus.
Why do I feel that if I start scrolling through TikTok tonight, I'm going to see that challenge show up on my feed?
Not that popular of a movie, probably not.
I wish it was.
Well, it is number 1 on Netflix right now.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
They say that a lot.
7 billion hours of watched. Ben, did the very first jump scare of the movie get you when Fulton punches through the wall? Did that get you? Did that scare you? Good job. Because it got me a little bit because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, ooh, you got me, movie.
Did it scare?
It got me.
I think it's because I was expecting a jump scare to happen somewhere.
Okay.
But one of the things I love about this movie is, you know how with a lot of ghost movies where the living befriends the ghost, they're scared of the ghost, and then there's this very slow connection and they become friends like around Act 2. Like the second he pops up and Kevin's just like laughing his ass off, he's like, no, keep going, this is great. And then and Ernest is just like, really? And he just like flies away.
Well, one, Ernest isn't scary, no matter how
exactly.
much he'd like to try. Also, the opening scene of the movie is really great because it's just a shot of the house and it's a family running out, screaming, the door shuts, and then time goes by, it's like the grass grows, and I'm like, oh, haunted house. Okay.
That was pretty cool.
That poor mailbox gets run over 3 times.
Yeah.
I really like the bit where the mortgage lady, the girl who's selling the house, is like, okay, and so we have all the original things. She's looking at us. Okay, so we have all the original furniture and things, and you can all take it all. Please take it. Please take it.
And they're like, this house was extremely cheap. Did anything bad happen here? And she's just like, it's a buyer's market. Nothing happened here.
You have to tell us about ghosts. No, I don't. It's in the fine print.
It's in the fine print. Yeah, we have ghosts. Yeah.
No, I was watching this movie with Fanny, and after they say that, I look over, I was like, isn't there a law that a realtor is supposed to tell you if a murder happened? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is.
But remember, in the movie, the murder, nobody knows it was a murder.
Exactly.
And nobody knows it happened in the house because they covered that up.
They did. They totally did. What else was it? Kevin. Are we still like? Are we?
No, let's bounce around. I think Kevin is great. Kevin is a wonderful character.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything.
I love Kevin's taste in music. I love how when he's talking to his dad about who Jimi Hendrix is, because I was very much on the Anthony Mackie side. It's like, yeah, Jimi Hendrix is the greatest guitarist of all time, and then he's like, yeah, but Kevin or the other Kern something, whose name I'm completely
the guy who influenced Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, the guy, like when Jimmy was interviewed, he was like, no, this is my influence, and I'm like, you're okay. I like that.
He's a smart guy. Yeah.
He is a smart guy, and also I do like a lot of the needle drops. Obviously, big classic rock fan. You're playing The Doors. You're playing No More Mr. Nice Guy, Alice Cooper, and also when you see him strumming and playing, Who Will Stop the Rain? That's what draws Ernest out by Creedence. I was like, that is a beautiful rendition of Who Will Stop the Rain, and I found myself humming along to that, and I was like, man.
This movie has a lot of like, it's funny, but I found myself like, it has a lot of really great emotional beats too.
Yeah,
and it bums me out that like the sci-fi movie part has to come in, because without it, I think there's a lot of really great emotion that like they're sprinkled through this movie. Like the beginning, like when they're having a fight, and Anthony Mackie calls like his son smart or whatever, and he's like, then he's talking, he's like, yeah, it says the guy reading a book for dummies to his dad, and I'm like, that's so mean. And he's constantly like, without meaning to, belittling his dad, who is just like an average guy who keeps trying to make things work and it's just not working out for him. And like Anthony Mackie is so good in this movie as just being a dude who keeps failing. And he just wants to provide for his family so bad. He's just like, he just keeps gambling wrong. And this ghost is it, baby. He got a ghost now.
I love how we don't get revealed too much of what happened in their lives. Like we get when his wife, Melanie, talks about Houston, like, this reminds me of Houston. And he says, Houston was a pyramid scheme. This is different. This is when they're talking about the YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so he royally messed up in the past.
And like he keeps messing up. And like what I think is like the moment he sees that video about Ernest, he's like, okay, well, this can be something big. This is proof that ghosts exist. And he has this he does bully his son a lot. And because he's so flawed, right? Because he is so insecure about his own thing. We find out at the end that, he's like, when I found Ernest, I thought, this is it. This is going to help me get my life together. It's going to click. I'm going to be a good dad, and my life is going to be all because of that ghost. And I think that's a really interesting character beat. And a lot of the times when I saw him, I was like, why is he so mean? And then that heart to heart they have at the low point
Yeah.
really like touching.
Yeah. I
sorry, Rain.
go ahead. You gotta go ahead.
I was gonna say, I weirdly like, especially at that point in the film, particular when Anthony Mackie is talking to Kevin after Ernest gets taken. I related to Anthony Mackie's character. What's his name again?
I don't remember.
Dad?
Yeah,
Dad.
let's call him Dad. What?
No,
You good?
sorry. My computer, my cat disconnected my video from the computer. You guys keep talking.
Oh, okay. You're still here, right? You're good. What was I saying? I really connected with Anthony Mackie's character when he's talking about how he doesn't know what he's doing, and a weird part of me is like, holy shit, I'm going through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because he is trying harder. He's trying so hard to make something work, to make something click, and where he's failing, his son is succeeding. I mean, it's not succeeding like bring in millions of dollars or how much money they're making off the YouTube channel, but at least in doing something right, which is he sees a ghost who's stuck, doesn't know what happened to him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to help this guy, not out of financial gain, but just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I love that.
His line, this movie made me cry at this moment. And I'm like, I can't believe this movie did this. But like as he's leaving, he turns back and he's like, you know, Kevin, I admire you. You turn out to be a great kid in spite of me. And I'm like, oh no, oh my God.
I got emotional a little bit there. I'm like,
I think
really
good. That line floored me. And this movie does make me cry, but a little later. There's a bit that makes me sob a little later.
I think I know the bit you're talking about, and it got me too.
But I think Kevin is such a really good character and like just good-hearted, good-natured. He's from the moment he is introduced as a character who is just kind, and that's his character development. He's just a kind person, and I really like that, and he's very endearing because of it. There's his relationship with the girl, I forget her name, Joy is wonderful. I think they're great. They're really cute together. I found them really compelling.
Yeah. I love when we first meet Joy and she's playing her trombone. Her dad yells at her, and also when she's in the library and she blows her trombone at people in the library.
That's when I knew. I'm like, she's all right. She's okay.
Oh, I was like, I mean, of course, it's a classic story. Boy moves in next door, sees a girl who lives next door. She's into music. He's into music. So, okay, cool.
Girl has the phone number 222 poop.
Classic
Phone number.
Honestly, when she said, "Are you kidding? This number is great," I was like, "Is it 8675309? It's not that, is it?" But 222 poop. It's still funny.
Why wouldn't you keep 222 poop?
Pinky swear and kiss it.
Yeah.
Kiss it. I was like, that's cute. I like that.
That's
That's a cool family thing.
Before I want to talk more about Joy, but really quick, I also want to talk about Fulton, his brother, Kevin's brother. It's weird because at parts you think it's like, oh, he's the older brother, or he's the jock, he's the asshole, you don't like him. But there are parts throughout this movie where it's like, no, he's actually a good guy. I mean, he's out for himself. He wants to help the family. He's posting videos of Ernest and getting in the reviews, and of course, he's talking to the girl on Instagram about how supplement company is. But when Kevin gets brought home and he looks at Fulton and he's like, "I'm sorry about the car," he's like, "It's just a car." I was like, oh my God. Because like 9 times out of 10, I feel like with these movies, the older brother just wants to destroy the younger brother. It's like, how dare you destroy my kick-ass ride? But instead, it's like, you're home, man. I was scared. I was like, thank you movies for destroying horrible tropes. What's up?
Fulton reminded me of Johnny Storm, where he's a himbo with a heart of gold. Where he does this dude like, yo man, I'm hot, I'm famous, I love the chicks, but like I still love my family. They're still number one.
I was just like, thank you, movie, for destroying old tired tropes of the older brother being the asshole when the younger brother is the focal point of the movie. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I think what Christopher Landon has written here is a very compelling family dynamic that feels very real. In not in like a movie trope way, but in like a real life way. And I think he has a history with Happy Death Day and Freaky to subvert trope expectations. And I think he does it here again in a really personal way. And I think that works. And that kind of goes back to, not to beat a point senseless, but like that goes back to why I think we're struggling with the Tig Notaro stuff in ways, because like the family dynamic works so well and is the heart of your movie. Why would you ever go away from that?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if it was even just Tig Notaro, I might be okay with it. But like, there's a scene where, like, we go to like the underground lab that's like big and blue and has like technology from the future and like a ghost containment field, and I'm like, I was just watching like a ghost drama, like a family ghost drama, like a minute ago. Like, it just, they feel like they're in different movies. And like that's like what those the other movies he's made as well. Like there's like, you know, crossing genres, but this one, like it doesn't feel as cohesive. It just feels like it was like, oh, I want to add the sci-fi stuff, but I can't make it organically make sense. Yeah, it's just like seeing that ghost field scene. I'm just like, this is just silly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit more about about David Harbour. I think he's so good. He is able to do so much with not, like, he's such a good physical actor. He's very warm, and you know, we're seeing a lot of really interesting things from David Harbour these days, and I really like that. And here we're just kind of seeing him act without any dialogue, and he's
expressive. He's hella expressive.
Expressive is the word I've been dancing around. Yes, that is it.
Like, anytime I talk about comic books, like the thing I'm looking for in your face is like, I know what emotion you're feeling. And David Harbour says like almost no words in this movie, but I know everything he's feeling. It's incredible. It's true acting.
I would like to nominate David Harbour for TV/cinema Dad of the Year.
I don't know. Pedro Pascal is literally playing two fathers in one.
Okay, the thing is, Pedro Pascal's daddy. This is dad.
Oh, well, if we want to make the distinction,
that's not fair to David Harbour. He can be someone's daddy.
The thing is, Stranger Things. I really did like him playing the dad in Black Widow, and of course this movie with him being.
Do you remember the line in Black Widow? Just you know, fathers. When he tells the really bad story, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? You know, fathers.
God.
And I want to say there was another franchise. I can't think of it right now, but I know he played a father figure or a dad in something else besides Stranger Things and Black Widow.
Santa Claus is sometimes considered a dad.
That's right.
Father Christmas.
I knew I was. Either way, David Harbour is having a hell of a few years, and I'm really glad. I think he picked another really great role, and once again, I absolutely love. I love what he does in this movie. How he is very expressive. How he does say so much with so little. Like one of my favorite scenes is when he's trying to hype Kevin up in the motel. Yeah. And then he's like, no, he's like, yeah, you look good. Or even like when they're getting chased by the cops in Kansas, he flips the car off.
He flipped the cop off?
He does the ghost scene from The Matrix where like they go from one car to one car to another. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he lands in the car, and I'm like, oh, those twins did that in The Matrix. I like it.
One of my favorite gags is when where's Ernest? Shing, as he materializes on the hood of the car.
He's just
Ernest in the hotel. I had to note that Ernest in the hotel was really funny because like almost like Bumblebee, like he turns the music on to change the mood, and then the bad thing he's like, yeah, you go, boy.
Did you remember when he looked through the peephole and saw the furries in the other room?
Oh my god, that's the next movie that they're making. Whatever's happening in that story.
Right?
What else? Oh, I love the scene with Jennifer Coolidge, where she's
she's a national treasure.
She is. Blessed be Jennifer Coolidge. I love how like everyone else is freaking out. She's like, I gotta get out of basic cable. So unprofessional.
Nice special effects.
We were cackling at that line.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is great. I love the whole like, oh man, yeah, it's terrifying. An arm comes out his throat.
Yeah,
it reminded me of like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's I mentioned before, it's really funny, but there's some of the TikTok things I want to mention. We'd already talked about the Ernest challenge, but there's also like, guys, I think I love Ernest. I want to have Ernest's baby.
I wrote down light one up for my ghoulies.
Yeah, and then there's one where they're just like, I had a dream that I had Ernest's baby and it looked like this, and ghost lives are human lives.
Yeah.
One of my favorite line. I wrote this one down. Just because you're not made of matter doesn't mean you don't matter.
Yeah.
I love not only that you get like a bunch of different people on TikTok. Like, of course, you got the ultra conservative dudes. You got the liberals. I do like Light Went Up for My Ghoulies. That was really fun.
That was really
funny.
Ernest challenge is just so funny watching people just run into walls.
Where they meme the mom scream and they
Yes!
put her as a meme as says, "I see dead people,"
and people are like doing it like.
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned
so
the mom. The mom, she's good. I think she kind of has a thankless job. She's kind of like the glue of the family, but by that extension, she's kind of like she's like the no nonsense one of the house. So she has like kind of like the least fun, even though she probably does have like the funniest scene with the scream and the TikTok stuff. So it balances out.
Yeah, I agree.
I also love the excuse me. I love the scene where she seals the phone. She answers it. It's Kevin. And then when Leslie comes up and catches her, and she just looks Leslie dead in the eye and says, "I would rather swallow a bag of razor blades and drink lemon juice than get and tell you jack shit." I'm like, "You go, Mom. You go."
So the whole movie is centered around trying to find out who Ernest really was. And they follow these clues to this guy who's named Ernest. They follow this to the real Ernest. And he's this old man who knew this guy, Randy McGovern, as you said, Brian.
Real quick, I knew this guy was a bad guy because this guy, he always plays like the worst. I'm an old man with a secret types of guys, and I'm like, this guy's a bad guy. I know it.
Yeah, I had no clue.
I knew that he was. I knew from the jump that Ernest wasn't Ernest, but I didn't clock that he was murdered till late in the game. The reveal being like because he remembers that he was murdered by his friend who stole his child. It like by the way, it's like the wife's like, that's Patricia. She blah blah blah, and like
she had a stroke.
Ramona, this is the catatonic woman who in the past was like, "Oh, my sister died. It means God wants me to have her baby."
Yeah, it's very, very sinister. You feel bad, the whole situation. And like the lie, obviously it's a lie, but he's like, yeah, oh yeah, Randy, he just left his beautiful daughter here on our porch, and he just left, and he took out a bunch of money and we never saw him again. He probably killed himself, that jerk.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, come on, man.
Although after that, and then you get the speech with Anthony Mackie saying that when you're a kid, you only remember the good about your dad. I was like, oh no, did Randy, Ghost Ernest, do bad things? But then of course once he sees the dude with the ego pin, and then he remembers that no, he was a good father. He was just killed by his friend and his sister-in-law. So he's actually a good person. Thank goodness.
It's a good reveal because like the story you do kind of wonder like, what is the reveal that Randy was a jerk in life, and that's why he's got unfinished business. But the hurt on his face. Sorry, I'm holding back a cough. The hurt on his face when he's being told what could have happened, the fake story, it clocks with who Randy is because he's like, I don't believe I could have done that. I don't remember, but like I don't believe I could have done that.
It's the ultimate form of gaslighting, essentially.
Yeah. The dude's dead. He can't speak.
Ghostlighting.
Ghostlighting. I was so relieved when we see Randy's murder or Ghost Ernest's murder.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank goodness, because I was like, I really was hoping that Ernest was a good guy. I'm like just like what Kevin said, every interaction he had with him tells him that he is a good person or was a good person. And when we find that out, is like he was murdered by his friends. It's like, okay, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think this is a really lovely movie. I'll talk about the end because I feel like we're kind of running out of things to say. The end has June, who's his real daughter, who's Randy's daughter, reunite with Randy at a lake, beautiful lake. That part when she holds his face and says, "Hi, Daddy," the waterworks happen.
I was like on the precipice, and then the High Daddy came, and I'm like, no, you got me again.
You did it.
Yeah, I was holding back tears. I was like, oh, I was sad. I felt I got the feels, and then the reveal that he was disappearing, and he had a last good moment with Kevin, and I was just like, that also gave me the feels as well. I was like, oh,
he does a. It's like he does a really good, like he does an embrace, and I really like the earnest effect. By the way, I think it looks really good. And then the fading away is really really well done. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful movie.
Oh, do we want to talk about Joy real quick?
Yes, because I think she's delightful.
Yeah.
And I love that became a road trip for a bit with Joy and Kevin. I think that's a good character. I was really invested in their romance. I thought it was very cute.
It was really cute. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I wish I really like the road trip section, and I wish we could have like had 20 minutes of more road trip and like less the X-Files coming to steal the Ghost Man. Because again, like it doesn't amount to anything in the end anyway. It's just like a Project Wizard clip or whatever was like, no, we could have just stored that in the files forever, to be honest.
I probably would have liked, I mean, going back to the music bit, because this isn't a criticism, but I know we kind of drop Kevin's love of music on, I want to say, like maybe halfway through the film after he plays Who Will Stop the Rain the second time to bring Ernest out for his dad and brother. Yeah. I would probably, I mean, instead of like, Wizard clip again, I would much love a scene with him and Joy and Ernest, like just rocking out to music and just going over different musical tastes and just talking about music for 5 minutes. I felt that maybe it would have not done a whole lot to the movie, but also maybe we'll explain that, hey, Ernest, how come every time I sang Who Will Stop the Rain, you approach? And he was like, oh, like he would get really, maybe that was his favorite song, or that was a song that triggered a memory with his daughter. Like when he would play that record while holding her or something. I don't know.
Well, no, you're absolutely correct because like if you take away the wizard clip thing, then you have the more real estate to do something like what you're talking about. And I was just thinking about like, okay, well then how would he remember his death? Oh, you don't have just some random dude walks up with an eagle pin and have that be irrelevant. You actually have it meaningful, like a song, like what you're saying, Ben. Because like it's because like honestly, the way he remembers is really weird. Some dude just walks up and he's just randomly has an eagle pin on his lapel.
I think I just realized how it could another way to trigger the memory. He gets murdered and gets buried in the rain.
Oh, sure.
Who Will Stop the Rain? He hears the song. It could have been the record that was playing, and that's the song that triggers because that was the last song he heard when he got murdered.
Yeah,
I like it. I like that.
Again, that's a something. As I like to say, that's a something.
That's a something. That's definitely something.
I just think that bit like just kind of holds down the movie. But you were saying
there's a scene where he like where Ernest like Raiders of the Lost Ark like melts his face, and then he just wipes it away, and it's just back to normal. And I'm like, that is so cool. That's like really cool. It was just really cool. Like he was a skeleton, then he's a human again. I'm like, man, ghosts are cool. I've never seen that before.
There's some really good inventive stuff and some really fun comedy. Like when he's running through the building and he just like comically run through the tattoo parlor and the office thing is so funny.
Yeah.
No regret. The tea is just it's funny. I love that bit. The comedy in this movie is, I would say, it's hilarious. Like when we first meet Ernest, Kevin starts laughing. When the mom meets Ernest and he goes, the TikTok montage is stunning. Joy's jokes here and there, like I love the trombone joke. That's my favorite one. Favorite joke of Joy's.
That's what I wanted to say.
You guys, every single bit with Tig Notaro's character in finding ghosts and doing the ghost stuff, I agree. That did not need to be the film.
Where do I remember that military dude from?
He's from She-Hulk.
Yes, he's the boss.
He's the boss. Yeah, where it's like you have to be She-Hulk if you work here. Yeah.
She-Hulk's boss.
It's not like any of that is bad. It's just like it is interrupting a much better, more like a different movie. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, here comes like the sci-fi part, and I'm like, it doesn't need this. It didn't need
It
it.
kind of either has to be one or the other. It's not balanced well enough to be both. You just kind of have to pick. Do you want to do the sci-fi movie or do you want to do the wholesome family movie?
Because like again, like this whole project, like for 20 years, like we've only seen like one ghost, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like it just seems like a lot of effort and a lot of nonsense when it could have just been a nice smaller family movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts and ratings.
I will rate it an 8 out of 10. It would have probably been a 9 out of 10 if the sci-fi stuff wasn't in it. So I'm giving it an 8. I think it's a great worth watching comedy drama.
Ben?
But at first, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about giving it 7. That's not my final rating. But the more I was talking about it with you guys, and the more I realized that, yeah, the sci-fi stuff really knocks the movie down, but everything else in this movie, I still think is fantastic. I would say 7.5, really, but it could be an 8, but it's in that range. I would say 7.5. The sci-fi stuff does bring it down, but the character interactions are great. I love the way David Harbour acts in this movie. It does give you some really good emotional beats, and it's also really funny, and the effects of being a ghost are great. Like, once again, Jennifer Coolidge saying, "I gotta get out of basic cable, it's so unprofessional," and then when she gets grabbed and runs out the window is hilarious.
I agree wholeheartedly with Ryan, actually. I think it is an 8 out of 10. I think a solid 8 out of 10. It could very easily have been a 9 if you remove the sci-fi stuff. I just don't think it needs to be in this movie.
There's like I'm seeing the edit in my brain where you just cut stuff out and it's like a tight 90, and I'm like, this would have been a perfect tight 90.
Yeah. Or
it's
like
very emotional. Let me finish my thoughts, Ben.
Sorry.
It's very emotional. It's very funny. I thought it was wickedly funny. I see the world where it was a 9 out of 10, but it is a solid 8 out of 10, which is still a good movie.
Had Tig Notaro been the daughter, that reveal would have been great.
Sure.
That would have made it a solidified better. I do agree.
Yeah, I would that would have brought everything together. But since Tig Notaro, they just let Ernest go, and there's no repercussion. We don't see any repercussion for that character. It's like, what were you there for? Oh, and one other joke which I absolutely loved: the Lyft joke, like the interaction between the drunk girls and the Lyft driver.
Right,
like when Ernest jumps in, it's like, "This is a Lyft, bitch," and drives away. I love that.
It's fun. It's funny. It's good.
It is.
All right, so we go into our book club.
Yes.
Ryan, it's your book club. Iron Man means Ryan, right?
Iron Ryan. Might as well be my book club.
No, it is Ben. Take it away.
Yes, and continuing with the tradition of when I get comic books for Christmas, they will eventually become my book club in the first half of the year. I have chosen Iron Man Books of Korvac 1 Big Iron. I mean, that's what it says on the thing, but it's Big Iron. That's the volume 1. It is written by, I had this. There it is. It is written by Christopher Cantwell, drawn by Cafu, C-A-F-U, and the color artist is Frank D'Armata. So, obviously, I don't have a lot of Iron Man books. One of my favorite Iron Man books, but also one of my only Iron Man books that I do own, is Infamous Iron Man, where Dr. Doom takes up the mantle. That's Ryan's fault. I absolutely love that. And when Ryan gave this to me for Christmas, he says, I need some more iron in my life. And you know what? I could not agree more. I absolutely loved reading this book. I was a little lost in some parts because there were some events that happened earlier. Like Tony Stark mentions how he was dead. He comes back to life. But the gist of it is still, to me, easy to get. He wants a new start. He is trying just to be a superhero. He's trying to get his life together. And he goes from LA to New York to try start fresh, which is what a lot of people do. To start fresh, they move from one state to a different one. And also, he kind of brings back the classic Iron Man armor in a certain way. I loved this, and I know I see this a lot with some other books, but I do want to find out what happens because this is a part 1. This book does end with a cliffhanger, so spoiler alert, guys, I may or may not pick volume 2 so I can get the rest of the story. Just warning you now.
Well, you could always just read the second volume.
I could.
But
It doesn't have to. Yeah, you can just read it. It doesn't have to be content.
I really enjoyed this also. I'm not the only Iron Man book I've read. I think is the Extremis.
I did read Extremis because back when we were living at Brandon, when you and I were living at C7,
you borrowed it from me.
I want to say I borrowed from you. Yeah, I think I borrowed it from you.
Yeah. So like I don't have a lot of experience outside of the Avengers books that I've read with Iron Man.
Me too.
Or his supporting pop-ins and like Thor and things like that. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really cool idea to take Tony Stark in a new direction and have him kind of be like depressed. Like he's depressed in the beginning of this. He's like a superhero. He's like, hey, I just saved the world from this dude. And they're like, why'd you break the satellite, dipshit? We're gonna sue you. It's like things like that. Like he hates this. He's like, I don't. What am I doing? I got a bunch of money coming from Stark Industries. Stark. What is this? Universe
Stark Unlimited.
And like I invested a third of that into the stock market. Yeah, and dipped the stock market prices down low. And it's like, well, all right, I'm trying, guys.
He can never win.
Yeah. So I really like that direction for him. My only complaint with this book is that it's too short. I think this probably could have been a good 6 issues. I know Marvel does 5 all the time with trades, but like I feel like this could have been 6.
Let me tell you, because I didn't know where the volume stopped on Marvel Unlimited, so I actually read 6 issues because I thought after issue 5, I need to read the next one to make it all make sense. Because it does end on a big cliffhanger. Right? That's issue 5, right? The cliffhanger where people.
Yes, issue 5 is the cliff. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, this run is 25 issues. It is one long arc. It is the books of Korvac all the way through. Korvac is your main villain throughout the entire book. I've said it before on this podcast, but this is the best Iron Man comic to come out in 10 years. Chris Cantwell just has a way of writing character, like big ego characters. Like he wrote Doctor Doom. He's writing Star Trek stuff. Like those guys have some big heads and stuff. Like he's great with Iron Man. He's written the Fantastic Four. The thing I love about this run of Iron Man is the MCU took away a lot of, and I don't want everyone to be this, but it took away a lot of Tony's sadness and a lot of Tony's addiction. And even if you're someone who is an addict and you aren't currently, drinking, you're still fighting that addiction. It's just like depression. You might not see it, but you're always fighting it. And this comic so elegantly shows that while he is fighting his addictions, he is replacing it with other things. And that's what something addicts always do. And like, that's me. Like I'm a recovering alcoholic, and luckily I don't drink a lot anymore, which is great, but I'm always trying to replace it with something else. And that has always been my entire life. And that is something I've always identified with Tony Stark that really quickly got dropped once Iron Man 2008 came out. Because then it just became about I'm a rich playboy. And that's the only characteristics I have. And I'm like, yeah, but what about pathos and emotions and like drama and like, stuff like that. So like this arc starts it, and it only gets better and better and more dramatic and great. And just like Hellcat is such a great addition to this book. I hope you guys like Hellcat because she is. Now they're married together. Spoiler, they got married in the comics, which is great.
Good. I love her. I love her.
That's a great page.
I wanted to bring this page up because once again, huge props to the art. I mean, obviously the covers are done by Alex. The Alex Ross covers, just chef's kiss. But the interior art, this page, I love. Love the design.
It's so good. He draws great people, but the way he draws like costumes and outfits and like Iron Men is top notch.
I love the design of Tony Stark's armor. I mean, I've always liked more robot. You guys know me. I like mechs. I like robots. But I was never the biggest fan of his original armor, where it's more like bendy. It's like human skin. It's not like, Iron Man.
Yeah.
The fact that Kafu was able to design the classic Iron Man suit, but bring it into like, I don't want to say the 21st century, but bring it to the 21st century, still make an homage to the classic suit, but still make it look like it's armor. To me, is like this is quickly becoming my favorite Iron Man armor. I love how this looks.
There's something to be said about the simplicity of it, where it harkens back to classic armor. And I know they have the Brian showed the page where it's just like straight out of the first cover, one of those early covers of Iron Man. which is beautiful. I love that page like so much.
The art pops, man. It's incredible.
And like and I think a lot of Iron Man armor had probably the same thing that the MCU Iron Man armors had after a while. That kind of became too like flesh, too nanite, too like we're just like, oh, suit up. Here's my morphin time, and like and I think like going back to basics, what Cantwell is trying to do with this whole book, start back to basics, works really well and creates kind of a freshness to his Iron Man armor.
I want to highlight another page and actually another scene. It's this one with the melter. Like Tony's this is right after when Tony goes to visit the school to like say hi and talk to the kids, and the teachers are like, we are very structured, we are very uptight, and he's like, okay, you all suck. But then he comes home, sees Ether Rich, Melter's like, melted my car. He's like, are you mad? And just punches him in the face.
Yeah,
I love the dialogue because Iron Man's like, the melter. Seriously, we're doing this now, and he's like, haha, I melted your car. He just punches him in the face.
But correct me if I'm wrong, like the next page is like, why am I even doing this? I could be a god to you people. And like he takes up I think it's the melter. He takes up the melter to the stratosphere, like drops him, and is like, I could just do this. Why don't I just do this?
Because that's the thing. Like every once in a while, he's like, I am like the smartest person on the planet. What am I doing with these little people? Wait, hold on. I can't. That's crazy shit. I got to be a regular person. It's too much. That's what. Oh, Brandon, thank you for bringing that up. Because having now reread this after just recently finishing issue 25, because I just most recently came to Marvel Unlimited. That is what this entire arc's about. It's about him challenging and like being challenged by his own ego. And like, in spoiler alert, but like the big arc is he becomes God. Like he and Michael Korvac have a cosmic level fight in the cosmos where they both are cosmic beings. And like Tony's like, I can be a god, and everyone's like, Tony, please stop. It's great. It's great.
One of the characters I also really want to highlight while reading this is, of course, Patsy Hellcat.
Yes.
When one of my favorites, every time they get together, like, okay, when we first get introduced to Patsy, I was like, okay, maybe this could be like a comic book She-Hulk Daredevil thing, not where like they hook up, but they go superhero. Like when he says, we're gonna ditch the party, I have an EMP set that's gonna go off in 25 minutes. Let's go superhero. And the more they start talking, the more, sorry, Ryan, like the more they start talking, the more they like when Patsy says, I'm gonna be your tough love buddy, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a romance that's gonna blossom, right? And the scene where they're on the plane, like Tony's bitching about being a coach, and Patsy's just like, get off your high horse, this is privilege. And then she reveals that she killed herself, and I'm like, that just like, that is a mic to me, that's like a pivotal point in the book where Tony goes, what?
Yes.
Nani?
I love that you brought that up because one, Patsy Walker, Hellcat, she has experience with Tony Stark from like the 70s and 80s of like them hanging out and stuff. But she also, as explained in this book, was married to Damon Hellstrom, the son of Satan, and went through some really, really terrible things. And like the fact that they're like not retconning it, they're just like, yeah, I killed myself and I got brought back to life, and I think about it every single day. And to put that in a superhero comic book is really, really like incredible. And again, it's the type of thing that like Iron Man books like do. And then every once in a while, like not every once in a while, like the Fraction run did it a lot. And then Bendis took over, and I love Bendis's run, but it is very much MCU Tony Stark, where it's more about flash and bang bangs. So like to have this be like really like a book about pathos and like, who are you as a person? What do you want to be? Like one of my favorite panels is Tony's like, oh, like, I needed to save him. And why do you need to feel like that? Like, he's like, I need to feel like that I'm still a hero. Who do you need to prove that to, Tony? That you're still a hero? It's to himself. Everyone, we know you've saved the world a billion times. We know you're Iron Man. We know you're a hero. Why don't you feel like you're Iron Man? And that's what's so special about Iron Man as a comic, because it's a guy who has everything, who feels like he doesn't deserve it. And he's always trying to fight himself to feel like, no, I do deserve this. I am the smartest man in the world, and I'm a piece of shit, but like, I do want to help people. And it's just great. And Chris Cantwell he gets it. He gets it.
You brought up a really good point earlier, Ryan, about this book being about a recovering addict. You feel that in almost every page. Like, he has sex with Patsy. Yeah, there's an attraction and a love there, but like, oftentimes sex is used for recovering addicts, and like they need that physical intimacy in that moment because they're at a really low point. They need each other in that moment,
and the chemistry is palpable between them for sure as well.
Yeah, and I because like Patsy had just gotten the scar, and Rhodey's missing, so they both are like, this is what we need right now.
Yeah. They become almost like Tony, like he becomes addicted to her because like she is like his truth serum, and she is like she will never like let him step on her, like step all over him, or like she will tell him exactly what he needs to hear at all times. She will never be a yes man, because that is the last thing Tony Stark needs. You become a yes man, and then Tony Stark, again, he'll take over the world without realizing it. Like when you have that kind of intellect, you really need people in check to help you, because sometimes you don't realize like the things you are doing aren't beneficial to the world. You know, making Iron Man suits is one thing, but like, oh, maybe I should be a god and like tell people how to think, like Michael Korvac is trying to do, is a bad thing. Speaking of Korvac, he's a villain from the Michael Korvac saga. If you've watched Earth's Mightiest Heroes, he has an arc in it, I believe. Or it's the newer one. I don't remember.
I think I remember this.
Anyway, he is a villain from the 70s and 80s. He gets cosmic power from Galactus. This is basically like redoing that. Like it's basically the same thing where like he comes to Earth and he wants to get power from Galactus to become a god. You meet the Iron Man squad who is his friends for the rest of this journey, who are great. You got Frogman. People didn't love Frogman until that show. I was there. Is this comic? Also other comics, but it doesn't matter. You got Gargoyle and Misty Knight and the Scarlet Spider, and they're just a bunch of goofballs. I love it. They're in the book a lot more, so like you get their first introduction before they quote unquote die. Again, the ending on issue 5 is I understand a cliffhanger way to end it, but like I don't think it's a good way to end your volume that you're buying.
Sure. Yeah, I think those characters are really fun. It's the people that he could find at the time.
Because you can't have like the Avengers. You got to have someone that Michael Korvac won't expect. Also, he has a new mutant friend whose heartbeat doesn't go above 70 beats per minute. And he's deaf, and he's also like a great engineer, so he helps him like with his engineer stuff. And that's just like a really cool thing. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm just a Halcyon. Thank you. Yeah, you met him street racing because again, he needed an outlet to be addicted to something. I need adrenaline. What's my next adrenaline fix? It's being a street racer.
Yeah, but it's really interesting as you kind of what the book is kind of structured as, like, okay, it's Tony Stark, he wants a new start, Patsy Walker, street level hero with them. Okay, unicorn. Okay, interesting pick for the first villain. And then like the villains are like C tier villains.
They're all old school, like C level Iron Man villains. Yeah, Blizzard, all these guys. Yeah.
And you have an expectation that like, oh, this is what this book is going to be about, more street level Iron Man. But then Korvac comes in, and then he's like, my goal is to get the Tattoo, which is Galactus' ship. And it's like, oh, this is Cosmic Iron Man.
Oh yeah. And I know you guys have seen, because I've posted before, but like some of the Alex Ross like covers of like how cosmic this book gets, where it's literally like, again, Gurren Lagann, Iron Man versus Korvac in the middle of just like solar systems. It's really cool shit. And again, what I love about this book is no matter how big it gets, it's always like the internalization of like what Tony Stark's thinking and like what he's feeling. And I just love the character. And when he's done right, like this is perfect. Like this is, again, it's perfect. I've read issue 1 of Jerry Duggan's Iron Man. Not digging it. It's just, hey, I'm Tony Stark and I'm a recovering alcoholic and I got drunk on accident. Isn't that a shame? And I'm like, yeah, if you're boring, sure. If you, I don't know. I'm sure that book can get better, but I wasn't impressed. But this book, y'all, I'm glad you liked it, Ben. All 25 issues are incredible. They just get better and better and better. Love it.
Ryan, I didn't just like it. I loved it.
Love it. Again, the art, Coffee's really art. Good. Coffee's art is so it pops. Like he makes that Iron Man armor. I agree. This is probably, I have a toy up there. I was like, is that my favorite Iron Man outfit? But I don't know. This is definitely my favorite modern outfit. It's sleek, it's stylish. You actually have to put it together. It's not nano armor. Love it.
Let's bring up Grayson's comment before we move on.
Yes. Grayson says this can be addressed afterwards. Ryan, are the Iron Man Prime ones any good? I've been wanting to read more Nightwing, of course, but Iron Man is one I've always been curious about.
Iron Man Prime.
I don't know what that means.
Does he just mean like the main Iron? If you just mean like the main continuity Marvel books, like yeah, like this is volume. The one we just read was volume 1 of like the most recent one. It started in 2020. Yeah, it was only 25 issues. It started in 2020. That's the best modern one. The Bendis stuff is good, but like that's kind of just like MCU Iron Man, and it's good, but it's it's fine. Matt Fraction's run is, I think, like still like the best Iron Man run just ever made. I think like that'll be hard to top. That's the one I have a tattoo because I got a tattoo of that. That's how much I love that run. That's also a book that deals with addiction and like, being a superhero. But like back when, Brandon, this is something we often talk about. Back when the Marvel universe was like, it felt like a universe before all the reboots. So like there's so much continuity and so much character history, and all these characters would show up and everything mattered. And like when Iron Man was like peak that, like back when Iron Man, when Tony was like director of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the Dark Avengers, like all that stuff, it's just like mwah, mwah. Love it.
Before
Iron
the
Man's good and no one reads them.
Yeah, like it says like right here, collects Iron Man like from 2020's version of Iron Man 1 through 5. So, Grayson, Iron Man 2020, really good. Not
good jumping on point.
By the way, not this Iron Man 2020, not that one.
Oh, there is that. Yes.
Yeah. Not that one. I mean, just like it's just regular Iron Man, but the 2020 is the year it came out. So,
Chris Cantwell.
Yeah, Chris Cantwell. There we go.
I want to also say, because we talk about it a lot, Inferior Iron Man, Dr. Doom Iron Man,
Superior Iron Man,
Isn't Superior Iron Man the Axis one?
Yes, that's where he's in San Francisco in the white suit.
So then Dr. Doom is Inferior Iron Man.
Infamous
Iron Man.
Yeah, I was like, who's Inferior Iron Man?
I don't want to know.
That's really good.
Yeah,
but it's not Tony Stark, but it's just really good.
Yeah, infamous Iron Man. I mean, I liked Iron Man because of the MCU, but then Ryan told me about Infamous Iron Man, where Dr. Doom takes up the mantle, and I had to get those books. I hunted that shit down at I want to say WonderCon, and and once I showed it off to Ryan that I bought both books, I got the biggest hug from him ever. And then I was like, "Yo, Infamous Iron Man freaking rules! I love those books."
I'm glad we've read Ironheart. We've read Dr. Doom Iron Man. Now we've just read some Iron Man. Lovely.
All right. Ryan, it's your book club next week. Do you know what it is?
I do. So y'all, The Mandalorian's coming back. And I know we all went pretty heavy into the Star Wars comics when they first came out. And I know I've stopped. I don't know if you're Steve's keeping up, Brandon, but okay, yeah. And I know, Ben, you definitely stopped, but like there have been a bunch of, my cat is sneezing a lot. Will you just calm down, please? There are a lot of comics. There are a lot of comics that I haven't read. And there's one specific one that has been going for a while that I've been really interested in. And it kind of ties into Mandalorian, and it's called Star Wars Bounty Hunters. It's written by Ethan Sachs with art by Paolo Villanini and colors by Arif Prianto. And it has this guy named Valance, and he's like a robot man. He's like half cyborg. And every time I see a cover of a Star Wars comic with him on it, and I'm like, I want to know who that guy is because he looks so effing cool. And apparently this book's cool. There's like a War of the Bounty Hunters big event that recently happened that I want to read, but I don't have any context for it. So I'm going to get some context. We're going to read some Bounty Hunters.
Very cool. Back to the Star Wars universe we go.
Back to the Star Wars universe we go.
All right, so that's that, Mag. That's really cool that you met Kevin Eastman that made him laugh.
That is awesome.
That is
all right.
Yeah.
So next week, we have some ideas. We'll let you guys know when the episode drops. What we're going to do
most
next week.
likely, probably Cocaine Bear. Now that it's out, it's just when movies come out on the weekend, it's hard to see them on the weekend they come out. But I have a whole week. To see it now. It's easy.
Yeah, so probably Cocaine Bear, and then then we got a lot of movies to keep us going.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So that's that, guys. Thank you so much for all this. If you like this video and you subscribe to this channel, thank you. And check out some of our other stuff. We have plenty of shows on this channel that you can check out. Cinephiles, Fake Nerd Cinephiles is not a new show, but it's a new playlist that you can find all of our movie reviews coming and upcoming. All the Scream stuff is going to be all there. Check it out, guys. But of course, you can check out Fake Nerds Watch. Fake Nerds Watch is our series where we talk about TV shows after they air. Currently, The Last of Us and Star Trek Picard Season 3 are running on those shows. The only one not doing a Fake Nerds Watch is Ben. Get on it, Ben.
Well, Mandalorian starts in a couple weeks, so he's free for now.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, Basement Arcade, which is a video games Let's Play series. And you can check out Basement Arcade Pause Menu, which dropped a new episode with Square Painter.
Mm-hmm. Square Painter.
Thank you, Mags. Good night, sir. Good night, Grayson, friend. If you're still in the chat.
Oh, he probably is, knowing him.
And you can check out Fake Nerd Book Club and Animation Station. Animation Station has new episodes coming, so stay tuned. Check out our Patreon and our TeePublic if you like to support us financially. We'd greatly appreciate it. We just passed 240 subscribers on YouTube. Excellent, awesome. we've been stuck. We were stuck at like 170 for like 3 years, so it's really cool to see it move.
We got 3 more today.
I saw that. I got those notifications. Yeah, one of them was One of them was Dan.
Yeah, my
hey,
DM,
friends are still subscriptions.
Hey,
Friends
and
are still
also
subscriptions.
Also, when I was at the Buy Sell Trade event, I was talking to a guy, told him about the show. He subscribed right on the spot.
Oh, very cool.
So, Eric, if you're listening, hello.
Thank you, Eddie.
Support us financially on TIMECODES, our Patreon, which are linked below, or you can check out all of the links to all of our shows and our Patreon on TeePublic and everything, really. One-stop shop for fake nerds at fakenerdpodcast.com. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live show. Thank you to everyone who watches the replay. We greatly appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci, who did all the music you heard here tonight, all the music for all of our shows, and an upcoming thing that I can't talk about yet, but you'll see. You'll see it, guys. It's going to be cool. You can find him at Instagram on Jeremy Vellucci _Wreck of Time, which is about his band, Wreck of Time. You can also check out his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, at Suburban Proctologist Official on Facebook and Subproc Podcast on Instagram. Of course, you can find that on iTunes. Thank you to Mike Matola. Mike Matola is a wonderful human being who we love dearly. He's the fifth member of our podcast.
He's the fifth Beatle.
He's the fifth Beatle. We have ancillary. We have reserve podcast members, like the reserve Avengers. We have reserve podcast members of Jeremy, Cookie, and Mike.
It's like the West Coast Avengers, but we're the West Coast, so they're the East Coast fake nerds.
Yeah. Oh man, if they started a show, the East Coast fake nerds.
What an interesting podcast that would be.
Right?
That would be weird. Anyway,
you can find Mike Matola on Instagram and TikTok at Mike Matola doing the Ernest Challenge.
I would love that.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for CBR.com, KaijuRamenMedia.com, and AtomicGeekdom.com. Ben?
You could find me probably staying up way too late playing Marvel Snap or keeping my new favorite waifu alive in Fire Emblem at BadMaggot27 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You could also find me writing for GoNintendo.com, Fusion Gaming Magazine, Old School Gamer Magazine, and playing Mary Frankenstein in D&D Dark, which the link is down below. So definitely go ahead and check that out.
Also, I would like to reiterate that the link for D&D Dark is on his blog page that he doesn't use on our website. Ryan,
you hear that?
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
She
you can find me loving my cat who loves to purr at DJ Tony Snark 616. Also, Ben, I'll see you on the Snap.
Oh shit! I just started, dude.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna get my ass. You're gonna kick my ass. It's not gonna be fun for me.
You can find the absentee Sparks Witty enjoying his honeymoon in France at Sparks Witty, SPARKZ Witty. That'll do it, guys. Thank you. So subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Actually, really, it's really important that you guys like this video. Until next time we see us, guys, stay fake nerds.